Welcome to episode 6 of the DJ and Heel Show, which I have named Revenge of the Sith. And once my co host pops in and gets into the space, you'll understand why. And there he is. DJ just popped in. Give me 1 second. We're going to get him here. Invite the co host.
Okay, cool. And the co-host request actually fucking worked today. Thank you, Twitter.
Yep. Give me one
They
second.
still having with that glitch again?
Jameer, you're gonna have to just sit back and enjoy the show for the first 10 minutes because we're gonna start off a little bit different today. We're gonna start off with a DJ on his sicko soapbox. So we're gonna give the floor exclusively to DJ for the next 10 minutes or so, and it's all you.
You got the clock ready because I might go over by accident. So you definitely got to clock me so I don't go too long.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna give you 10 full minutes. I hope you enjoy.
Right.
Before you go off, just look at the name of the show. Look at the sub name. I figured that was a nice Revenge of the Sith. So I thought that was, yeah.
I like it.
With
So I just also want to state, apparently I just got reported for something. So it was Hannibal or one of his friends probably fucking reported me for talking shit about him. So this will work out perfectly for my soapbox segment because I need the 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself and it's all you.
Let me. You're gonna be a part of this, so don't be afraid to be in this because I'm gonna ask you quite a few questions to make sure we establish character and precedent. Now, co-host, you've known me for about 4 months now, right?
More or less, yes.
How often have you ever heard me bring up on the show or tried to mention and go out my way to mention Hannibal, Ryan, or anyone of wrestling with Tism?
You've exclusively wanted them gone from your space, your life, your essence on Twitter.
So that no, I don't ever mention or whenever they are mentioned, they're usually mentioned to me, and it's not me bringing them up.
Correct.
Okay, because it seems like for months now, again, I've tried to leave these motherfuckers alone, and the reason they are so obsessed with me is because they want to be a part of what I'm doing. They want to do what I've done. They want to accomplish what I've accomplished in the IWC, in wrestling content creating, etc., etc. But they will never do it because they have no appeal. Nobody wants to sit here and listen to pussies talk about only positivity in wrestling and bias and only about the garbage trash wrestling that y'all motherfuckers seem to like. Okay? Try to let y'all do y'all. I try to let y'all go with y'all little rebrand without making fun of y'all because it was fucking funny. How all y'all shit got deleted and stolen from y'all. From the motherfuckers I told y'all were whiny little bitches in the first fucking place, and now y'all gotta start from scratch, and now y'all are the piss ant fucking YouTube show trying to send shots at me and Brandon for no fucking reason. That's neither here or there. So yesterday, and Brandon, you weren't fully aware of this, Sean Ross Sapp got into it with our friend Leo because Leo didn't know the lore behind me and Sean's friendship.
Yeah,
and how me and Sean became cool.
I saw little bits and pieces, and obviously I saw when you were talking to Leo about it, and that's when I saw also the some tweets from your friends.
Exactly. So again, Sean and Leo get into it. Leo don't know the background. He's just one of the people who goes after Sean just to go after Sean. When I sit here and I defend Sean's character, I defend him as a person, I defend his journalistic integrity. Like, he's good at his fucking job. He's one of the most accurate, quote unquote, dirt sheets out here. He's a real dude. If he has a problem with you, he will come to you and address that fucking problem. And again, the phone call that Leo was answering to, he wasn't aware of the situation, but the person Sean was harassing like that deserved it. I wanted to beat the motherfucker up. I Tony Garcia, aka sitting in Gorilla, standing in Gorilla. I will sit here and say his name till the cows come home. Like, that was the whole reason behind that. Because Gorilla tricked me, Sean showed me his ways, and I gave Sean the platform to fucking air out his grievances against the motherfucker and apologize to Sean publicly because I disrespected him publicly. And we even handled it behind scenes. Sean basically went after any other motherfucker who wanted to smoke, and it was one of the best wrestling IWC spaces of all time. To where a year later, motherfuckers are still talking about it. Sean's still sharing it. People still go out and listen to it. 500,000 views. Okay, 500,000, at least on the post. 40K live when we did the fucking space. Motherfucker, Voice of the Marks, Hannibal, Ryan, all of them wish they could get those fucking numbers. They wish they could interview real wrestlers. I've interviewed both KJ Orso and AJ Francis, who both happen to be signed to a network television wrestling company. How many wrestlers you've interviewed for any network wrestling companies ever? Don't worry, we'll wait. Never. Because you want to know why? Because they want to be me. They want to accomplish everything I accomplish. They want to do everything I want to do. They don't understand the fact that DeeJay don't want the fucking fame. I'm okay being with little old me and just having my own little group of friends to talk wrestling about. But they want to be known. They want to have friends in these promotions. They want Tony Khan to notice them. They want Triple H to possibly notice them. They just want to be noticed for their love of wrestling. And guess what? You're not. Because nobody cares about you. You guys aren't charismatic. You guys aren't interesting. The only interesting thing you can do is fuck with me nonstop and always mention my name for no fucking reason when me or you have nothing to do with the fucking situation whatsoever. When Sean shares one of my old spaces of him airing out motherfuckers live, and y'all want to try to comment on it, hoping y'all get some attention, hoping y'all get some follows, hoping y'all get some clout for mentioning my fucking name, get the fuck out of here. I welcome either of you whiny little bitches to come on to one of my shows or one of my spaces and try to fucking air me out publicly, because that'll go so well for y'all. It will go so well for y'all. Or fucking find me in person. Come to Rochester, New York. I don't hide where the fuck I'm at. Come visit me. We can handle this in person. I'm not fucking scared of none of y'all. Voice, Hannibal, Ryan, James, this includes you, because you can't rein the bitches in either. No matter how many times I fucking tell you to get your fucking friends and tell them to keep my name out your fucking mouth. It's not a hard fucking concept. Publicly air them out the same way you try to publicly air me out, because people think Hannibal is faking his autism, which now I'm one of the motherfuckers in the crowd. So again, I don't need y'all to get any clout. I don't need to mention y'all. I don't need to keep airing y'all out. At this point, it's a fucking hobby and something I like to do, and pointing out your idiot logic. Also, Hanovich, if you're gonna sit here and talk shit about me, at least get all the fucking facts right and try not to lie on me. I've never, not once, threatened to punch a minor. I've threatened to punch some bitches in the face, fucking Diamond Baby or whatever the fuck her name is with the fucking, what's DWE teams, when she was trying to run her mouth about me. I ain't give a fuck. I've threatened to punch bitches in the face. I've threatened to punch motherfuckers in the face. I've never threatened to punch a child in the face. I've called children retarded. That's their whole thing they got on me. I called a 17-year-old person who said Hulk Hogan was directly responsible for Owen Hart's death, fucking retarded. And I stand on it. Anyone, and I also want to state this out in the public too, because I'm sick and tired of motherfuckers sitting here trying to say they're playing both, trying to play both sides, but then obviously picking one side. So if anybody who fits within that criteria gets offended that I'm talking about Ryan, Hannibal, or James, or any of the hosts of Wrestling with Tism, y'all cannot fuck with me no more. I'm not about to sit here and beg y'all to be my friends no more. I'm tired of sitting here motherfuckers playing half-ass and making me seem like the bad guy, because I'm responding to motherfuckers running their mouth about me, while y'all motherfuckers sit on the side and just sit here and try to play, we're not involved in this. But when DeeJay come at them and fucking ether them and burn them to the goddamn ground, I'm the bad guy. I went too far. I did something wrong. No, you need to tell your fucking friends to leave me a fuck alone and stop sitting here and fucking with me and poking in the bear and trying to use me to get some attention or clout, because it's not going to work anymore. Because guess what? I'm not trying to get that much attention anymore. I'm just doing this thing with Brandon because Brandon's a cool dude, and you know what? We're about to kill this shit. I think we could get Andrew Badalo numbers. I think we could possibly get JD numbers if we work hard enough, because all we do is piss people off. Me and Brandon are good at our fucking job so far, because all we've done in the past 6 weeks is make y'all motherfuckers lose y'all mind on whatever we say. It's fucking amazing. I got boys still on 18 accounts still trying to fucking get me to respond to them. No, I just hit the mute button whenever I see what account you're on, and if something interesting catches my eye, I'll make fucking fun of it. But other than that, I don't need none of y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and keep going toe to toe with y'all. Again, Hannah bitch, you wanna shut me the fuck up and not sit here and call you a fat fuck who looks like a giant fucking testicle? Come shut me up. Ryan, the offer is wide open to you too. And I'll sit here and call out your manhood the same way Ropes did. Because we both don't think you a man. We'll openly say it. You're the man. Any man who has to sit here and go on Twitter and expose himself to try to get me, DJ's a terrible person because he said the Ring Boys lawsuit and the Janelle Grant lawsuit were both cash grabs, and it's so abhorrent because I was molested by my brother as a kid, and it just morally goes against everything I stand for. You weird motherfucker, that's not a man. If you had a problem with anything I fucking said, you would have came to my DMs, you would have said it to my fucking face, and not try to air it out on Twitter for some fucking clout. You fucking weirdo. And again, James, this only involves you because you can't get your fucking friends in line. And you sat here and went behind the scenes and got me banned off of other people's show because I told this fat fuck I ethered this fat fuck to here to Venus. And you were tired of being put in the middle of it. Tell your fat fucking co-host, your two blobby looking bitches, to leave me the fuck alone. That's my 10 minutes.
On the nose. 10 minutes on the nose.
No one in the game could cut a better promo than me. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
I just want to...
And if you want to be in the nose... And if you want to be on the nose, go to BlueChew.com.
Not yet.
Use our promo code DeeJay, all caps, no spaces.
I just want to put a topper on that before we actually get on to the actual show. WWE neckbeards, voice of the marks. We know it's you. No, you're not fooling anyone. No one cares how much engagement you get. You getting engagement more than my post get engagement is not some gotcha. My life, and I'm not validated by the amount of engagement I get. You tagging me every week as some gotcha to say that you've been here for only 3 months. We know you haven't been here for only 3 months. I don't care what engagement you get. You can tag me to get clout because you think you have some gotcha. It just shows I'm rent-free in your head, bitch. And whoever this WrestleFish is, well, I guess is part of that.
That's Ryan. That's Ryan.
Part of this collective who likes to talk shit about people even though they already blocked them. Get some balls, dude.
Let me state this, Brandon, because you know what? If anyone has any history or issue with the quote-unquote Wrestle Collective, it's me. It's not all of them. There are actually some, it's really not all of them. There are really some actual decent people in the collective who can have open debate, who actually openly love wrestling.
Grumpy Omega.
Just the fucking select few. It's like 4 or 5 of them that are just whiny little bitches on the internet and are so fucking touchy when you say the letters AEW in any type of negative fashion.
That Slick Rick. That Slick Rick guy. He's a weirdo.
Yes, he's the head bitch in charge.
The only one who's I've seen is part of that group who's cool is Grumpy Omega.
No, there's Advocate of Enochiism too. He's a cool guy.
I've never encountered him, so I don't know.
I'll sit here and say he's a cool, non-biased guy. Like I said, it's not all of them. I can't sit here and say it's all of them anymore because half of them fucking left. They're leaving in droves. So I'm still good over here. Rock and Rope's still doing good. Everyone was just off this weekend. We gonna be back next week. Ropes has already talking shit and picking the next topics. So I'm good over here. You feel me? I'm cool with Rock and Ropes just being my small little circle and DJ and the Heel being my new project in life. which is working. It's a working project. We're pissing people. We're accomplishing what we're doing. We're pissing people off. We're slowly growing. We're expanding. We got Hub helping us out. We don't got to sit here and kiss ass to promotions or other fucking content creators. We can just sit here and do our own thing. So I'm good.
I mean, the truth of the matter is this: we started this. This is episode 6. So what? 5 weeks ago is actually what we started. We only expanded to like getting a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, all that stuff in week 4. So this is technically the third. Would be technically the 3rd week. So do I think we're gonna blow up overnight? No, but small steps, and that's what we're gonna keep on working on. We're gonna keep on working on small steps. I'm putting together a link tree with all our links, so we're gonna get there. So let's get on with the actual show. Are you good? You good? We can get on with the actual show.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I got it all off my chest now. I just needed the rage immediately because I saw some bullshit.
All right, let's get to it. Let's start with the TNA debut on AMC. Jet, do you have something actually to say that is not Blue Chew related?
Yes, because they did. I'm gonna get my shit off. Because listen, Hannibal, you mentioned me like 2-3 times for some reason, and you mentioned my Bluetooth ass. But out of respect, I'm not gonna mention the Bluetooth ass because they just don't mention it. But whatever. Whenever you and somebody else, whether that be Pro or DeeJay, have the balls to actually at me instead of just typing my fucking Twitter name without the at. You was a bitch. And mentioning me, I'm having gay sex and all that type of shit. You're a weirdo. Tag me so I can actually see it. You the bitch. And I'm sitting here actually being positive by AEW. Just because we don't record our spaces doesn't mean I haven't actually been positive by AEW. We have nothing to prove to you.
Okay. I lied. You know what, Brandon? I lied. One more thing. Because Jet fucking hit a nerve on that one. Then that fucking fat bitch Ryan decides to make a space addressing his enemies. You ain't got no enemies, you fat blobby bitch. The only enemies you got are the ones you make up and force upon yourself. No one gives a fuck about you or your little stupid show. Focus on what y'all are doing over there and stop focus on what me and Brandon are doing over here.
And if you're going to address your enemies, record your space so people could hear it. The fact that you didn't even record your space and you're saying you're addressing your enemies. Every one of these spaces are recorded.
They tell us to record our spaces, but they won't record theirs. It's kind of funny. Well, let me finish my point. The fact that you have to mention me because for some reason I'm involved in you and Lloyd's shit. It's fucking dumb. That you have to actually mention me. And you sit there and claim you don't listen to our spaces, but somehow, some way, you know about the Bluetooth shit, which is kind of weird. Because you say you don't listen to our spaces, but you know about the Bluetooth shit, which proves that you know about the fucking shit.
Listen, Jet, they're my biggest fans in the fucking world. They're going to listen to everything I fucking do. It's okay. Just admit you're my fucking fans and I'll embrace y'all again. It's that simple. But let's go back to TNA. I'm sorry. We had Impact and fucking...
My last thing is, my whole point is, if you want to talk about me, at me. That's all I wanted to say. That's the gist of it all. You want to talk about me, at me, and don't bring my name and the other people's shit. That's what to say about me, say it to me. Because I'm the type of person to where Twitter is not my life, but I will come on here and address you. If you have something to say to me or about me. The end.
All right, so right before we get to TNA, there is breaking news. Trey Miguel apparently is already out of AEW.
What?
So the Rascals debuted last night on Collision in a backstage deal, and it was only the 3 of them without Trey Miguel. And they were just talking like they didn't mention Trey at all, and they were just a threesome. And then SRS reported not too long ago that Trey Miguel has already been released from his AEW contract. And then Trey Miguel posted on Instagram, taking a break from wrestling. Please respect my space and don't tag me in any post or comments. Go support the Rascal still. So I don't know what's going on with him right now, but he's not with AEW. And it was Fightful did note that it was on amicable terms for the break with the company.
That's
I don't-
surprising.
I don't want to look into it too much because I don't. Again, it could be. I don't want to just sit here and jump on. Oh, it's an issue with AEW. Blah blah blah. It could be just more of a personal issue where he's just stepping back and evaluating stuff.
Isn't he still dealing with a hernia?
Yeah, but if he was injured, I don't think he would get released from his contract if he has a hernia. They still would, he wouldn't just be completely gone.
Right. Even if he was just taking the break, they wouldn't release him. There is something deeper to what's going on.
I mean, it's
They
either
wouldn't just release him from his contract.
I'm obviously this is me just making assumptions. There's either one, like DeeJay said, he's going through something personally and he is taking a break from wrestling altogether, or two, this might be something similar to an Andrade situation where maybe he wasn't free and clear from TNA, and they just assumed he was, and someone didn't read the fine print, and maybe he's still under contract to TNA. But again, I'm just guessing and making assumptions. I have no verifiable information on that. But let's talk about the train wreck that was TNA on AMC. DeeJay?
I wouldn't call it a train wreck now.
Uh,
It was a clusterfuck. It was a level under train wreck, I think. I feel like train wreck's the worst of the worst. I've seen dynamites that were worsely formatted, worsely placed, worse executed. Again, my issue, I have issues with it as much as everyone else in terms of the format of the show was terrible. Whoever formatted it needs to be fucking fired or have a stern talking to. The commercials were dreary, and the finishes. The finish to the tag match and the finish to the main event both sucked. Like, objectively. Like, the last 10 minutes of the main event between Kazarian and Santana, to me, was unbearable. They started off the match great with the good pacing, but it just felt like once they started doing all the no-selling and the kicking outs and the no-selling was just getting ridiculous. It wasn't like he was small. It wasn't like Santana was no-selling small moves. This motherfucker was no-selling, like, big major moves. So, like, in terms of, the overall show, I gave it like a C+. It wasn't the best debut, but I wouldn't call it awful because I feel like they accomplished what they needed to accomplish. They established most of their roster, which is what they needed to do. They needed to introduce everyone instead of just throwing everyone out to wrestle without knowing who the fuck these guys and girls aren't. You know what I mean?
Well, first off, there was only 3 matches over 2 hours. That's not how you debut.
No, I agree. No, and that point I do agree. 3 matches in 2 hours is abysmal. But if you do 4, I feel like if they just added one more match, it would have been fine. Do 4 15-minute matches, space them out a little better. That's at least an hour of wrestling, hour of promo time. Happy medium.
And using the excuse that Leon Slater wasn't available has no reason why you can't add another match. We're going to assume that the report was correct, that it was an issue with his visa. So you knew he wasn't going to be there. You're with as small of a roster you have. You're going to tell me you couldn't put together another match? You literally had Eric Young there just sitting in the crowd randomly. You could have put together something backstage and made a match for a 4th match. There was just so much talking. It felt more filler than anything else. The opening match was okay, the 6-man tag. The women's tag was not good. That abysmal train wreck of a segment, would you agree that the Elegance segment was a train wreck?
Yes, that part, I wouldn't say train wreck, but it was, like, bad. It was definitely really bad. Like Asuka and Kairi Sane bad.
It just... I mean, I gave it 4 out of 10. And the reason I even bumped it up to 4 was because up until the ending sequence, I thought the main event was good. So, you know, they have a lot more matches announced for this week. So at least, we're getting that. But I just felt that for the debut, creatively, from the wrestling standpoint, it was not the right first impression. And from a production standpoint, they need something. I mean, I'm gonna paraphrase JD. He said that it looked like it was being filmed on a iPhone 12, and he's really not wrong. I don't understand. You have WWE accessible. You're gonna tell me that you couldn't ask them to help you leading up to it with some sort of production. Not to say that let WWE take over, but they could have given you some advice. I mean, Anthem.
I mean, in terms of the production, for someone who isn't watching TNA regularly, yes, it could be a bit off, but I get where you're coming from, where it looks more indie, like an indie shooting type thing. But that's always how TNA has been shooting for the past, like, at least for the past year. That's what their show looks like. That's their presentation.
And
So
why?
I didn't have much of a problem with it as someone who was already watching TNA before AMC.
Was the ring always that small? That ring looked very small.
Are we doing the small ring thing again? Like, stop.
No, I'm not even like joking. I was watching. I'm like, why is the ring so small? Like legitimately, I mean, WWE rings are 20 by 20. I think AEW is 18 by 18. This one looked like it was 16 by 16. It just looked really. It legitimately looked very small.
I didn't even notice.
Like
I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah,
I'll go back and look.
I'm not even like trying to be like joking or being facetious. It just really looked like it just looked small.
No, but yeah, like I said in the beginning part though, in my initial analysis, the point of this show was to introduce everyone to the audience, and I think next week will be more of a wrestle heavy show in terms of showcasing the talent, introducing some storylines. Especially now that Genesis just happened, it's a whole new, pay-per-view cycle. They're going to be doing a bunch of new storylines that they want to introduce and get going. I think next week's going to be more of the impressive wrestling episode in terms of shit getting done in the ring than last week.
Well,
Again, 3 matches is too little. They should have did just 4 15-minute matches. And that would have been that again. That covers an hour of TV time. Then you got the other hour of vignettes, promos, introducing people. I feel like that would have been a better medium, and a lot of people would have took the show better if they did that. In hindsight,
well, they did.
But again, overall, I wasn't expecting the greatest wrestling show in the world. I wasn't expecting them to go balls to the wall and blow their load the first episode.
Yeah, but you got to impress. You got to impress people on your first episode on a new network, especially when you're trying to bring in. You're gonna have new eyes that are tuning in out of curiosity. You have to be able to. You might have to go a little bit balls to the wall. I'm not saying.
I don't know. Again, just throwing just throwing matches on it. Say they did do like 6 or 7 matches on this show. And you don't know half of the people who's introduced. You don't know if they're the baby faces. You don't know who's the heels. You don't have any background on who these motherfuckers are. You're just watching them wrestle. You see at least from that perspective. If you're doing that, we're at AEW. So I feel like in TNA sense, I think they did the right thing, going the route of let's introduce all of our stars, all of our talent, show them the personality, show what everyone's like. You feel me? Establish who's heel, who's babyface, who's going for what title. And again, next week should be the episode where they're really trying to impress people and balls to the wall and knock socks off. Because if they don't do it next week, then we got a big problem. You know what I mean? But I'm not in terms of the first week of a new wrestling show on a new network. Yeah, I don't think they did terribly. I gave valid criticisms of what they did wrong and where they can improve. But I don't think it was, again, other than the awful finishes of, Mike Santana no-selling everything and then the dread awful tag finish, I thought the opening match was really good and perfect way to start.
And I feel that, like I said, they need to also format better because I think they went too long, and like the whole angle to lead to Genesis was on their social media. Because
Yeah, they definitely could have cut that Elegance brand promo about 3-4 minutes to at least so you could slide it in the ending bit. I do agree with that.
because they completely blew the whole thing with Nick Nemeth, and then because you had Genesis just 2 days later, and even
Yeah, they did a terrible job of setting up their biggest angle for the biggest match on their pay-per-view.
So,
but like I said, Genesis is over, and let's talk a bit about that. Did you see any of Genesis or no?
I saw clips and bits and pieces. I didn't watch it.
You got to give at least one TNA pay-per-view a chance because I feel like TNA does a good job of being the happy medium in between AEW and WWE in terms of they give us 6-7 matches. They're all decently paced. You can tell who's the baby faces, who's the heels. It's not like certain personalities in certain matches you can get into. Like, you know what's going on. The thing TNA is lacking right now to making them any real competition to anyone is star power. If they had any real stars, like big stars, like if TNA pulled in Chris Jericho under WWE's nose type shit, that they can compete with anyone. Because they do, in terms of putting a wrestling show together on a mainstream television aspect, they do it right, the right way. They just don't have the star power to compete with everyone. They don't have the notoriety or the brand to compete with everyone.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I was discussing during the week is like everyone's talking about how all these talents are jumping to AEW from TNA. It's like, no, it's not that they're jumping or that they don't want to be in TNA. TNA just can't afford to pay what WWE and AEW pays. They're frankly just getting outbid. It's as simple as that. And I heard the Genesis was a lot better than the actual TV show, which is what it's supposed to be. Your pay per view is supposed to be
exponentially. They ended a bunch of stories. They had 3 solid, really good matches. And my only disappointment of the show is Zarya didn't win the Knockouts title. But they set up an angle for Cora Jade to be the next challenger, or Elena Black. I'm calling her Cora Jade. I don't give a fuck.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Cora Jade's going to be pretty much the next. They said it. Cora Jade came out after Zarya lost, and Xia Li Wing, or I always fuck up her name, and I'm sorry.
Katie Lee.
Yes.
I get that, but you wanted Zarya to win? Why?
Zarya needs some spotlight on her. Sol Ruka is literally shining bright and casting a shadow over Zarya, and it pisses me off because Zarya is a talent.
I get that, but she had her second opportunity for the Knockouts World title, and I didn't really expect her to win. I knew Xia Li was gonna win.
It was a good match either way. Either way, it was a good match, solid match, and a great way to feature Zarya, which is what WWE and NXT needs to do more.
Right.
Hurry up and do the breakup with her and Soul, because Zarya could be a future women's star. That woman right there could be your next Rhea Ripley. I'm seeing it now. She has the whole package. You just got to use it right. So like I said, Genesis did a good job of having solid matches. Again, my favorite match was the Zarya world title match. I'm not even going to try to butcher her name because I don't want to get slapped on Twitter for her. But
also don't forget
that was a good match.
Don't forget Zarya
versus the Hardys was shockingly a better match than I anticipated because I'm not a Hardys guy anymore. You know what I mean? Personally, I think Matt is beaten the fuck up and beyond past his prime. The man waddles to the ring. Like, I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Like,
I thought the Hardys was going to lose their titles to the Righteous.
So did I.
I'm surprised.
That's what made it a good match, though, because you thought this was going to be a transition, and no, there's either a longer, bigger story to it, The Righteous are definitely going to be a featured tag team.
Well, they're
You
signed.
know
That was that's why I thought the title changed, because it was like the day of the pay-per-view they announced that they were officially signed to TNA. So I'm like, oh, they're definitely changing the titles.
Because look at that, we're gonna get that title change and the world title change as well.
No, like they played it really safe in terms of let's try to roll with the champions we got, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of with it. I didn't hate him. Like I said, the only one I hated was Zarya. The one I thought that should have changed was definitely Zarya. Zarya should have went in as NXT Knockouts champion. They do it for like at least 2 or 3 weeks, and then she can drop the belt.
Because she wasn't even supposed to be in the match. She was like,
right. It will be Dan Lewis.
I think it would have been the perfect shock value in terms of keeping the crossover between NXT and TNA live. It forces people from NXT to have to watch some TNA now, especially now that it's on network TV and it's way more accessible than it was on Access. Sorry to be punny, but so like you got to see it in that term. I'm just thinking in terms of increasing our business perspective.
I get you, but
not in storyline perspective. That's kind of their job to make it make sense, because it'd be more of an abrupt last minute thing. But it'd be better than the abrupt last minute thing we got on Thursday.
And I do hate that Zarya, lost again, because, I feel like, she's like this main event jobber almost. Like she hasn't gotten a definitive win for herself to make like a name for herself. And I think, the breakup, whether it be, the typical, friends breakup heel turn, or if it's just a matter of Sol Ruca going to the main roster and Zarya having to be by herself in NXT, will be the best thing for Zarya, because like you said, she is getting outshined by Sol, and she does need to be able to, get that spotlight for herself.
They got to break them up, because I understand why people want them to stay in the country, because I was in NXT with the Wrestle Collective, and they kept telling me that Zaruka should stay a tag team. Why? Because
I don't think they
already fine by herself. There's no doubt.
Right, but I don't want them to do the typical one of them has to turn and they have to feud type thing. Like I said, do it almost like you did it with Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria. They didn't break up. Lyra went up. She pops in every now and then. They still have their alliance, their friendship, whatever. And then this way, when Zarya is time to go to the main roster, you already have that team established, and it becomes even bigger. I don't want to see the typical wrestling, have to throw them through the barbershop window breakup of a tag team.
My bad, I just got food. No, I agree, kind of. I think the breakup should be more of a central point. But I think if Zarya had the Knockouts belt while Sol is beltless, it would just sow more seeds of dissension between them, if that makes sense. Because now Sol's going to be kind of cast in not the spotlight, and we'll see how she reacts to it.
But see, from a storyline perspective, that wouldn't make sense, because Sol basically gave her the match on on Thursday during the show. You saw Zarya get surprised that Sol's actually like pushing her ahead when Sol's been getting all the spotlight. So I don't think, if Zarya had won, I don't think it would have been like Sol would be like jealous, because she wanted Zarya to have that moment. So, I mean, I think it would have been a freaking cool little thing to have them aligned with each of them being a champion, one in NXT, one in TNA. Almost like a babyface 2-man power trip to a point.
Hell, they got opportunity this coming Tuesday for the Knockouts Tag Team titles.
And speaking of that, a guy I formerly interviewed, KJ Orso, made his TNA debut for the international title. So, again, I've interviewed 2 TNA wrestlers before they were TNA. Oh, no, AJ was currently in TNA when I interviewed him. But KJ's now in TNA, so that I'm 2 for 2 now, motherfuckers.
Now I'm like, who the hell is KJ or so. When I first saw
He
that,
used to be Fuego del Sol in AEW.
yeah, as soon as I read the report, I'm like, oh, okay. Only reason why I know him because of Sammy Guevara and those vlogs they used to do.
In GCW, he unmasked and he did a retirement angle type thing and then came back as a heel against Sam Stackhouse. So now one of the better GCW feuds. People should check that out. That's the only thing I'll ever throw out there for Garbage Championship Wrestling.
And honestly, this is what TNA needs to do. They need to sign these guys who, either were with the other companies or just aren't there yet, that their other companies aren't interested in, and bring in not necessarily name talents, and then build them just like they used to do. You're not going to outbid, guys who have become stars between the big two. So you need to find guys who aren't stars, and you need to make them into stars. And that's what you got to start doing.
Facts.
Don't be shocked if you don't start seeing TNA start gutting the GCW and like MOW, infrastructure and stuff. Well, income in the next few years.
What's that? DPW? That's where Jake something came from. All those guys are, that company's folded. So you have all that, and you have talent from there. So we gotta, TNA's gotta build their roster up, especially now that you have this TV deal. You can't rely on 15 people every single week. But I think Zarya and I think Zaruka is going to end up winning those tag titles. Because I don't think Ash by Elegance were even supposed to have them. It just happened to be that TNA lost the inspiration.
And now they're going back to WWE as the Iconics.
I think that's where they're going to go. I think they're going to go back to NXT. I think it's going to be kind of similar the way her husband is. They're going to be coaches and stuff down there. And it's just they're going to
I don't know. With how empty the SmackDown, or not even the SmackDown, the tags divisions on the main roster is, I can see them being on SmackDown. Especially, hold on, just hear me out real quick. Just hear me out with it quick. The Iconics with Chelsea Green. Tell me that's not a killer faction.
Yeah, but my question is, don't you think they get outshined by, you got Io and Rhea, you got Charlotte and Alexa. I just feel like the Iconics are completely outshined.
No, because first of all, their attraction is that they're the only real women's tag team, and I don't think they would be outshined. They have a look. They both have great looks, and they both have the blonde look. Okay, the blonde look that all WWE executives have seemed to love in the fucking creative process. So I think the Iconics would actually get over pretty strong, especially if they're with a Chelsea Green in the mid card and they're only doing mid card shit, and maybe occasionally Chelsea gets a title shot and becomes that top bitchy heel with her two, stooges. I think it could work in terms of WWE television.
But just remember, in the classic saying, eventually the bell has to ring. And I think that's where they extremely lack. And that's what I mean by outshined. If they're in a tag match against Alexa and Charlotte, they're going to get outshined. From an in-ring perspective, from a work rate perspective.
I don't know. Oh, go ahead, Justin. My bad.
If they were going back, why wouldn't this is my thing. If they're going back to WWE, why get the belts off of them and then throw them on another WWE team? Like you were talking with Sol Ruka and Zarya, when they could have just left them on then until it was time to drop it because they could work both.
Wait, say that one more time. I got lost in what you were saying.
So everybody's speculating they're throwing the belts on Sol Ruka and Zarya. Man, the Iconics are going back to WWE. But if they were going back, you could have just left the titles on.
No, because you're not going to have them just leave the company with the titles.
But Sol Ruka and Zarya work for WWE, and they're going to get the titles.
Yeah, but
they have a working relationship. They have a partnership. It's not like they're going to AEW with the titles.
I just feel like that's weird. You could have done where they quit TNA and stole the tag titles and jumped to NXT with them, and then But they don't. TNA doesn't have tag teams either. That's the problem. Also, it's literally just Ash by Elegance.
Right now, I'm just saying, like, you didn't have to get the belts off of them for them to go back to WWE because of the partnership.
Well, we also don't know if they definitely are going to WWE. I'm just guessing that's where they're going to go simply because of Cassie Lee's husband.
Why wouldn't they go back to the WWE?
And for some reason, I can't remember. Oh, Sean Spears. I couldn't. His name escaped me for a minute.
Yep.
Is he Sean Spears still in NXT?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's under his real name. No more Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, he's with Izzy Dane and this other guy. They're what the damn I can't.
Colin.
The Cullen.
Mm-hmm. We're deducing he's losing that title thanks to Taylor Paxley whenever that happens.
What's up, Kefis? What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Good. What do you got? You got anything going on with TNA? Any thoughts about?
No, I'm not. I'm not really a fan of TNA, so I don't have any thoughts about it.
Well, does anyone else have any more thoughts about TNA before we move to the next topic?
No, I think we're good for now. I think you can move on.
I'll say this. I'm glad Landry got his last farewell win as a WWE superstar at Genesis.
Oh, that's right. Fandango retired. I forgot about that.
That too.
Well, you know what? I do have a comment about TNA, actually. You would think for a company that's going like on live television, you'd think they'd make some investments heading up to their first show in some talent, but I'm pretty shocked that they didn't.
Well, got this. It's because I think they're waiting for the real money to come sink in.
They're waiting on the sale.
Yeah, when they're sold, because TNA is going to be sold either this year or beginning of next year. There's no doubt in my mind. Now that TNA has a television deal and they're locked down for 3 years, they're more lucrative. So it's been reported that Lorenzo Fertitta, former partner of Dana White and former owner of the UFC, is interested in TNA. Now
That's pretty much a lock.
And yeah, so if he's the suitor buying it, or at least the person they're shopping it to, and I'm not going to say he's going to throw Tony Khan money at this, but he definitely will throw Dixie Carter money at this. And that would be the game changer that TNA needs in terms of investing in talent and getting new, big, box office names. So, like, TNA, as far as TNA investing in talent, they're doing what they can right now. They re-signed Nick Nemeth. They got the Hardys. They got Cedric Alexander. EC3's coming in the door. They got some notable names. You know what I mean?
But no, and like with the whole TNA thing, like you were talking, DeeJay, like it's inevitable that they're going to be sold to Lorenzo Fertitta. Whether it's later this year or early next year, it's going to happen. But like right now, Hanselman's looking to unload like Access TV. They're looking to unload TNA. They're looking to unload all this stuff, and now the TNA's got this TV deal, this partnership with WWE, just some decent sized name talent. They can get more money out of the sale.
Does that kind of answer your question, comment though, Kepis? At least from a certain perspective.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It's just, for me, like as a consumer, I'll use the Netflix premiere as an example for Raw. If they had like an absolute dog shit show, as a consumer who is trying, who the company is trying to appeal to, the company is trying to create a loyalist out of, I probably would have never tuned in again, right? You had a lot of those people, actually, if you remember back when the Netflix premiere of Raw happened, you had a lot of randos hopping on to see what the fuss was all about. And, a lot of them were like like women that were complimenting Roman Reigns, saying how how good he looks or what and those people ended up tuning out like right away. So even more so for TNA, it's you get a nice contract to have your show essentially available to people throughout the whole. I haven't read up on the deal, but presumably throughout all of North America at the least. And if you don't dump a lot of money into the premiere show, it's like, are you going to capture some of these people, or are these people who are first-time viewers just going to completely tune out now and not even give TNA a second look? I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, you're right. You're definitely right. But I also think from a certain aspect, and I was telling Brandon this when I was giving my initial critique. Week one isn't about bringing people in. It's about establishing who their star was. Week 2 is going to be the one where they got to try to knock people's socks off. And in terms of potential star power, it's kind of hard when WWE has a lot of people on lockdown. AEW has the other part of the wrestling base or star power on lockdown. And in terms of free agency bidding, they don't have the money right now until they're sold. Once they're sold, they're going to have the money to be able to compete with contracts like Swerve, Hangman, Ospreys, the Okadas. They won't be able to give people Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes money or CM Punk money. But in terms of being able to compete with Tony Khan, once they're sold, it'll be a whole different ballgame. Hamlin, I see your hands up. How you doing, bro?
Sorry about the noise. I'm just on.
You're a little roboty too. You might have to leave the space and join back in.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're all good. My bad. But yeah, no. But like, I get your concerns, Kapis, as someone who is from the outside looking in. And as far as the TNA perspective,
is this better?
Yeah, that's way better. There you go.
Well, like DeeJay, I'll use myself as an example. Like with this very thing, I looked at the card. Actually, I was in a space with Brandon and a few other people just listening. I didn't talk or anything, but I looked at the card and I'm like, dude, what the hell is this card? I mean, it wasn't even enough. Even with AJ, like, it wasn't even enough to get me to tune in as a fan of wrestling, right? So I say this, like about perhaps non-fans or fans of wrestling who are even less interested in the product than me. It's if it wasn't enough to get me to watch it or even look at the highlights at the very least, then I would say they probably did a pretty bad job, especially considering that they're partnered with WWE. But again, that's just me. Honest, everyone's different. That's me. There was literally no hype in my life behind what I saw on the card, and the card didn't even excite me enough to view the highlights.
And that's something I brought up too. I mean, I understand what DeeJay was getting at, but I felt that it was your very first show. It's the show you're going to have the most eyes on you. You need to knock a home run or at least a triple so people come back the next week. I know a lot of people may not be coming back after the show last week because it just was really bad.
Yeah, I'm along that mindset. So.
I mean,
all right, real quick, Hamlin, you there? Hamlin, you all good now?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm
here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're better.
Yeah, like I said, sorry about the noise. Just like I'm on the train, so nothing I can control. But no, I think I pretty much agree with everything Kev has said. It's just like your first show has got to hit and it's got to establish, right? I mean, like if we're just looking at like first shows recently, that's why even the January 6th episode of Raw when they first went to Netflix, I was so critical of that because it's like on that show was just boring, right? Like we opened up with Triple H, congratulating himself like he always does, and then after that we got a Rock promo where he's high-fiving Cody Rhodes and talking to Ted Sarandos. I'm like, why am I watching this? Right? The second episode of Raw on Netflix was the one that they should have aired, right? Because immediately when you watch that show, you understood who the main stars were. They were actually focusing on the storylines that were going on, right? And all the stuff that happened on week 1, where And again, to top it all off, they had a 30-minute main event where, let's be honest, right? Do you guys think like either CM Punk or Seth Rollins would consider that one of their better matches? I don't think so. And with this premiere of TNA, I mean, it was the same thing, right? Like, we had an AJ Styles promo, which, you know, it was all right. You saw Frankie Kazarian, which was okay. For like, so, you know, the wrestling fans will know who those guys are, right? The main event was pretty good, but, you know, Bully Ray in 2026, what are we doing here? And to top it all off, this is the one that really, really got me. Perez Hilton? I didn't even know who this guy was, gentlemen. I'm going to be honest to you, right? Because I know there's some hype about a celebrity inductee. I didn't even know who Perez Hilton was. I still don't really know who this guy is. He was on the show as like a celebrity.
Yeah, right? He's like some not comment. What the hell they call them? Like not talk show host, but like those things from like.
He was like one of those internet like pop news.
Celebrity gossip people.
He was an internet blogger.
Yeah, but he was like
when was he famous?
He was like early 2000s. I mean, when I was in high school, he was like famous for a little bit, but
okay.
It's
that's the point, though, right?
Yeah, of all people, I don't know why they brought in someone who's pretty much been out of the spotlight for 20 years. And I don't.
No disrespect to Perez Hilton, but like, bro, nobody under the age of 35 is 30 is gonna know who this guy is.
Oh no, bro! Feel free to disrespect him. I don't know anything about him, but it was a pretty.
Neither do I. That's why I'm not gonna I don't know anything about the guy. That's why I'm not gonna say much. But it's just your first show needs to hit, right? And I just feel like they didn't do enough for the majority of people who are willing to give it a chance to get a second show. Right?
I do disagree. I do disagree.
I just don't see it that way.
Right, I just disagree with one thing. I don't think having Bully Ray there doing commentary is a bad thing. It's a name. You know, everyone pretty much knows who Bubba Ray Dudley is. You know, he wasn't involved in an angle. He was just on commentary. So I didn't see anything wrong with having him there. He's a TNA Hall of Famer. You know, Bound for Glory, he was one of the top names of one of the biggest attractions for the show. You know, he's got his connections and he's on Busted Open. He's in the wrestling sphere. It's not like he's been gone for 10 years and they just, you know, brought him out and brushed off the cobwebs.
You're right. I'll give you that.
So I mean, I know a lot of people don't like him because they think he's a WWE shill and all that stuff, but you know, he's still got his foot in the door with the TNA and the WWE connection. And like I said, it's not like he's been out of the spotlight for 8 years and then they just, you know, dragged him out. It's not like they freaking said we're going to have a celebrity and it's Perez Hilton who hasn't been in the spotlight for 20 years. You know, Bully Ray's still around. He's very active in wrestling. He's active with WWE, with LFG. He's active with TNA. So I didn't see a problem with that. And like I said, it's not like they did an angle with him that he's going to be involved in the wrestling aspect. He just was there as a name to be part of the commentary team. So I didn't see anything wrong that would hurt them from that perspective.
Let me ask you guys this though. Like again, somebody who doesn't watch TNA, but wouldn't it have been pretty inexpensive and at least semi-intriguing to have? And I don't like the guy personally, but I like him as a wrestler. But like Kevin Nash there, or Sting, or Kurt Angle, you know, like some of the legends who have gone through TNA.
Well, they can't get Sting, so I don't think that was going to happen. But
is he still under contract?
He
has like a Legends deal with AEW.
Ah, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
And
not disregard Sting, but like, you know, like Kevin Nash, Kurt Angle,
but
Raven. I don't even know if he's still alive, but like, you know, they could have brought in some of the old heads who at the very least would have taken a little honorarium gig, like nothing expensive, but
more than Bully Ray. I do agree. In hindsight, now that you mention it, I agree with that thought. I can't agree with that.
But Bully Ray,
if they did that, it would have made the show a little more tenable, and especially if they did it during some of those promo segments that, like, if they had like one of the old have Gail Kim come out and interrupt the fucking Elegance brand during their promo or something, and introduce the Iconics for their match. Something like that. Yes, I can see how that would be extremely beneficial for TNA.
Well, don't forget, Bully is also a former TNA World Champion. It's not like it's not like he doesn't have history in the company.
He's not in the upper echelon of TNA legends. Like, come on now. He's like number 10 in the top 10.
Honestly, you know who I would have brought in? I would have let Chris Park be Abyss again one more time. They could have put the mask on him. He could have just came out. He could have came out and interrupted the Elegance brand and give that freaking Mr. Elegance a black hole slam. That would have saved that segment.
Yes. Yes. Definitely more. Again, Abyss is higher on the echelon than Bully Ray, though, in terms of TNA legends.
And it's not like he's not available. He works for WWE. So, I mean, the only thing
he's just a producer, so it's not like, he's actively having to do shit. He just works on Mondays.
You could have just thrown him on the plane with AJ when AJ flew back after Raw. And they could have been on the same corporate jet, and they could have both been there. So, I mean, I think
we've been on TNA for almost an hour now. Let's try to switch it up.
I'm reading the AEW very early with Trey Miguel.
Yeah, we actually talked about that already.
Yeah, so apparently he's taking a break from all of wrestling, not just AEW, but if he shows up in GCW this weekend, it will be fucking hilarious.
But why did he sign?
Again, we don't know if something personal happened, like maybe, honestly, I'm gonna go into fucking hypotheticals and gossip and blah, blah, blah. From what I'm reading it as, my man's going through a heartbreak right now. Some bitch broke his heart. That's the only way I can see somebody doing some type of drastic decision. Either a death or some bitch broke his heart. And he not in that right mindset and need to get himself together. That's what I think it is. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying there's any fucking truth to this. This is just what I'm reading into the situation. I think my man got his heart broken.
I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. I think there's some kind of contract issue when it comes to TNA. I mean, we've seen it happen before with AEW, jumping the gun on guys. But again, we're going to wait and see. But
I don't think Tony would make that same dumb mistake this close together.
You're giving him a lot of credit.
I'm giving him a lot of credit. Listen, I am giving him a lot of credit. You're not wrong, but I'm going to be on the optimistic side on this one. I don't think Tony's that stupid to fall into the same trap twice.
Well, speaking of stupid falling into the same trap and contracts, Will Hobbs is no longer with AEW.
Hold on. There's a sound gimmick, and there's a fucking... Hold on, this is what I want. Woo! Free at last!
So just to catch up, people who have been under a rock over the last week, Will Hobbs was part of the Trios tag with the Ops. His contract ran out Wednesday into Thursday at midnight. They were hoping to re-sign him, according to reports. AEW offered him a substantial contract, and he turned it down to bet on himself. There was reports last week that WWE has interest in him, and he's basically on his way to the quote-unquote Fed, where the reports are coming in that he will be going directly to the main roster to SmackDown.
No, we'll throw that last report out, because there's no way he's not going to NXT with Rick. Unless Ricky's going up with him, there's no way they're not pairing those two together in NXT. That would be the dumbest opportunity for them not to exploit in the history of Everdom. This is coming from the crowd of people who chanted Tony Fumble. If they do not put Hobbs and Saints together, we will riot. There's no reason to throw him on SmackDown or the main roster just because you're scared because you don't have any real top talent. Even though you got Jeff Cobb and did completely nothing with him. And you could, if anything, if you're that desperate of stars, bring back Karrion Kross. I know Justin's gonna fucking riot about it, but who the fuck cares? He still has somewhat name value and would be shocking and more main event appeal than fucking half the people on SmackDown anyways. So unless you're gonna bring back Bray Wyatt from the dead, I don't know what else WWE can do in terms of making stars on SmackDown, because that's an impossible task. They need to start just stealing motherfuckers from Raw. Brand split, LOL. But Hobbs needs to go to NXT. I'm happy as I don't really give a fuck where he goes. He needs to go anywhere but AEW because Tony has some type of trauma against anybody who's above 6'3" and 250 pounds. It's fucking amazing.
I think he
Like,
has.
what-
I think he remembers getting stuffed into lockers by guys that size. So I think
It's gotta be something. It's gotta be like some type of trauma or something because I don't understand it. Again, this is from someone who's watched Will Hobbs be emasculated, taped up and beat up on, stapled in the nuts. You feel me? Given an 8-minute match for one of the best blood feuds the AEW possibly ever had with him and Ricky Starks when they broke up the Team Taz, one of the best groups they also ever had. But like, in terms of what he can do in WWE, the sky's the fucking limit. He can honestly be their next Big E. And Big E went on to have a pretty good fucking career until he broke his neck. So hopefully Hobbs don't meet anyone named Ridge Holland. But other than that, I think he's good. Main event, I think he's too early. He has to be, how can I say it, conditioned out of the AEW thought process of things and shown how to do shit. And the only way you can do that is in NXT. Justin, go ahead. The floor is yours. Sorry.
For like you were just saying, bring him in, tag him with Ricky here. I mean, you need tag teams on SmackDown anyway. Like, so you can bring Hobbs in, bring Ricky up. I mean, you got a decent tag team right there. They worked well together in AEW.
I don't think Ricky's coming up yet, though. I think he's getting another run as NXT champion as a heel, and they're letting him run with it for a while. And like I said, I think Hobbs needs to be conditioned out of the AEW thought process of things. Look how long the Jade experiment took to really, start being somewhat effective. I don't think Will Hobbs got that kind of time. He's 34 right now. Like, by the time they do that experiment, he'll be 36, 37, and a lot more wear and tear on that big body of his. You throw him in NXT for 6 to 8 months, let him learn the ropes, let him establish a solid gimmick with Ricky as their bodyguard. You can bring them up together. You don't have to break them up. Bring them up together. Then you got Hobbs, the big meaty fucking bodyguard, and Ricky, the little shit talker, starting shit with everybody. With Cody, with Punk, with Sammy, with whoever the fuck, with a Gunther. It don't matter. The little shit talker with the big bodyguard. Who going that? If they do it right, they got a big gimmick right there.
Shawn and Diesel.
Better. I think it could be better than that. More like Big Bubba, Jim Cornette and Midnight Express type shit, where at midnight where they're like, the top guys, but Bubba was that big intimidating motherfucker even they didn't want to fuck with. That kind of dynamic, but with two people instead of a tag team. Ricky can be that big world champion, but the one motherfucker he will not fuck with is the one protecting him. Herm, I see your hands up. Welcome to the show. We love it when you come here.
Oh, that's nice to see that I'm actually appreciated.
You're always appreciated.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this about Willie Hobbs. I don't give a shit where they put him. They can fucking put him on Evolve for all I care. I was never that impressed with him in AEW, and a lot of that's probably because they don't know what the fuck to do with him. The other part of that is too, there's nothing that really stood out to me with him. But yeah, all this talk about him going main roster, I would believe that when I see it. I just think. I don't even think WWE would be that stupid. Then again, stranger things have happened.
The only thing I would ask of you is watch a couple Will Hobbs promo if you get time. If you get time and care enough to look out for a couple, he can cut a really good and charismatic and promo. I was gonna say an enigmatic, whatever. See, I already fucked up the word. That's why I didn't say it.
Enigmatic.
There we go. But like, he can cut a good promo. Especially if you got people giving him good shit and telling him how to say it and how if he's produced. Like, Will Hobbs, he has the look. How many guys look the size and shape of Will Hobbs nowadays? Bobby Lashley, maybe, and that's a genetic freak company.
Yeah, but then we got Opa Femi, who looks like the fucking love shot between Bobby Lashley and Andre the fucking Giant.
But Ova's going to be on the main. That's why I'm saying if Ova's going up, that's more reasons for Hobbs to stay down for a year or two. Let people get on the high of Ova, and then when Hobbs comes up, he's the big new bad guy, and people want to see that confrontation. Or Ova, Omos, and fucking Hobbs in a match, in a Meat Madness match. I don't fucking know.
No, Omos is doing great in AAA though.
So like, I think in terms of Will Hobbs, I think he's got main event potential if produced the right way and treated right and done the right way. Which in my eyes, the only right way to do it. Again, this is my opinion. Put him with Saints, keep them together, and throughout the main roster. Let him go a year or two. Let him do like 6 months in NXT, then try it on the main roster. Have him start fucking with people, establish himself the same way y'all established Jacob Fatu when he first came in. Just let Hobbs come in and fucking spine buster and body slam people, and let him get over being that impressive strong guy, that immovable wall. So when him and a Braun Breaker clash, or him and a Jacob Fatu clash, y'all can still a fucking pay-per-view with that as the main event. And only let the motherfuckers touch for like 8 minutes. Like that's what wrestling. That's how you build wrestling, and that's how wrestling works. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something, Herm?
No, I'm good.
I mean, let's not pretend like there hasn't been precedents of just bringing guys up. You know, look what they did with Cobb. You know, there's guys that just went straight to the main roster. So if there's a spot that they feel that Hobbs will fit in, I could see them skipping NXT with him. Like you said, you know, he's 34. You know, how about this? What if you put him with Jericho in that spot that you're talking about with Starks?
I don't think that works. Again, that's what fucked Jericho the first time. I don't think just because it's WWE, it's gonna magically work. No, it didn't work in AEW. It's not magically gonna work in WWE.
Yeah, but I'm not saying do a learning tree all over again with that learning tree character, but to be his bodyguard, where he's the one who's talking, especially when you're not going to have Jericho wrestle.
I think at least you agree in the sense that Will Hobbs would need someone to talk to for him in WWE. I'm not saying Hobbs can't talk. I'm just saying the package works better if he has someone talking him up.
And if you're not going to have Jericho wrestling that often, you could have him in that manager role and still be on TV every week.
But that's how I feel about Ricky. Ricky can do the same thing.
But you want Ricky to wrestle.
Yes, but if you do it on a more sporadic basis, and you use Hobbs to protect him during the matches, Ricky could wrestle as much as he wants. Hobbs don't have to wrestle for shit. Hobbs is the big money match, okay? Hobbs is the match before the pay-per-view to soften you up for the big bad heel. Okay, that's the role Hobbs needs to play and Hobbs needs to do.
And then you can get a tag title run out of Ricky and Hobbs too. I don't know.
Exactly, you can throw him in the tag division at first too, because Hobbs can beat both Jay and Jimmy lifeless. I'm all with that.
Kefis, what do you think about Hobbs in WWE?
Kefis, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think about Hobbs in WWE?
Yeah, I actually, he's one of the few people I actually like in AEW, to be honest. I don't like him a lot. Like, he's nobody that I couldn't, live without. But I've always viewed him as more of, a WWE talent kind of guy. He's quiet, he's big, he could be in better shape. He's in pretty good shape, but, he does have a gut on him. But I think by the time he debuts with WWE, he's probably going to be in pretty good shape. I think he's a good filler in the heavyweight scene. He'll probably end up getting relegated to the tag team picture eventually, but I do see him debuting on SmackDown. To be honest, I don't know that he's going to be a positive. I don't think he could hurt WWE in any way, shape, or form. I think he's going to be he's going to be a lot better than what they're working with right now on SmackDown. But one thing I'm kind of worried about, like with all of this, is like who are they going to cut, because they're bringing a lot of people onto the main roster right now, like a lot. And with all the signings, with Royal Rumble coming up, and Royal Rumble traditionally, that's when they have returns coming and new signings and things like that, or maybe not so much new signings, but returns. I'm just curious how this is going to shift like the whole landscape. But I am happy to see him coming to WWE. Again, it's nothing crazy. He's not like, I'm not going to over exaggerate his presence or his signing or anything like that. It's a net positive. How positive, I can't say.
You're not going to call him a game changer and then a fumble?
No, he's not. He's not a game changer by any means. Very few people are game changers. Like, and this is why I have a lot of problems with AEW. Everyone's like, oh, this person's all elite, game changer, None of the people that have signed this year are game changers in AEW. And very few people that sign in general are game changers, in my opinion.
So even Stone Cold Ace Austin?
I don't know what people see in that dude, personally.
Apparently nobody sees anything in him because he hasn't been on TV.
Yeah, I just have like a lot of fundamental differences than from other fans. Like I hear a lot about like, sorry, I'm not trying to rabbit trail here, but I hear a lot about like speedball and stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah, these guys literally do nothing for me. I'm glad they do something for other people.
I'm so glad you said that with Leo in the fucking party. Cause
I was gonna say don't say he has like a PTSD when it comes to that guy. So don't say his name out loud. Yeah,
well, like I can name other like Leon Slater, all these other guys, like all these other people. They just don't do anything for me, and they inevitably debut or whatever, and they literally don't do anything for anybody else. I just feel like a lot of these people are just people on X, like trying to garner engagement by like saying the most outlandish stuff ever. I don't know. It just very few people move the needle for me. I think Jericho, when he returns at Royal Rumble, that's going to move the needle for me because that's Jericho, right? I mean, even if he's a 90-year-old Jericho, it's still going to move the needle for me. You have to find a way in wrestling to bridge the old and the new. You can't just keep pushing the new. You have to find a way to like hand off and bridge it. Otherwise, you're going to have a completely foreign and alien product, and that's what's happening. But you have to balance it too, because like what Triple H does, there's not a balance in that. What Triple H does is a complete, like, it's just a terrible way of running a business. I know people are going to say, oh, let the bookers book and this and that. Honestly, the fans a lot of times know better than the bookers. The bookers are so disconnected from the real world. They're disconnected from the fan base. They don't know what the hell they're doing half the time. And that's how I feel with, again, just with wrestling, there has to be a way to bridge the old with the new, and that will make the new far more impactful.
Well, and something else I've looked at. Look at guys like the Rascals. Look at guys like Ricochet. Guys like Matt Sydal, Ace Austin. What is the difference in any of these guys? They're the same motherfucker.
Well, yeah, like the Rascals, like everyone's been going crazy about them on X, and I'm like, dude, like these guys take 6 months from now, they're gonna have done jack shit.
It's 3 more Ricochets.
So, in any case, that's how I feel about Hobbs. I feel like he seems like a cool guy. He seems like a good guy. He seems like somebody who'll be a good worker. But again, is he going to move the needle? I don't think so. The big problem I'm seeing right now in WWE specifically, the huge problem, and this is why people are not able, like these towns are not able to move the needle. Everything is completely like segmented, and what I mean by that is there's no continuity like in any given show. So you bring, like, I'll use the Vision as an example. They show them one time per show, and that's it, But if you just go watch any show, any WWF or WWE show from 20 years ago, whatever, or before that, you'll see like there's a Stone Cold segment, and then there's another segment an hour in, and then it culminates in a match or an interference with Stone Cold again. They're like the continuity is it like really takes the show to another level. So you can put Hobbs in there, you can put Jericho, you can put CM Punk, you can put all these people in there. But if they only get one segment in the course of a show, it doesn't matter. It's all for nothing at the end of the day.
I think that's a matter of having too much talent, and you're trying to squeeze so much talent on one show, so you're not getting that beginning, middle, and end of a story, even for one episode. Like you're talking about, like Austin would come out to cut a promo, then you would see Austin halfway through the show in the back with someone, and then he would come out for the main event. So you had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now,
yeah, but that's the problem though, Brent. It's like 2 years ago, right? Everyone, all the WWE fans who I am, we're talking shit about like AEW. Oh, they have a bloated roster. Well, WWE's roster is freaking bloated as hell right now too. Like, stop signing people. That's why I'm saying like with Hobbs, great. They're gonna get a good talent, right? But am I excited about it? Not really. Like I'm not excited. I'm agnostic. I'm neutral to it because I already know WWE, their booking, their creative has just been really stale and stagnant. And so in an alternate universe, would I be happy with Hobbs if I knew WWE was booking continuity throughout the course of a show instead of just individual segments every couple weeks? Then yeah, I'd be more excited about it. But again, this is just kind of where we're at currently. There's a lot of flaws to the product, but I think this is probably one of them. And I think people need to be more consistent, especially fans need to be more consistent when they call out AEW for bloated rosters. They need to do the same thing for WWE. You have to be consistent, otherwise you lose all credibility.
I actually think SmackDown has been the most improved WWE show of the year, like in the last 3 weeks. And I was talking about it when they first announced it was going back to 3 hours. I said once it goes to 3 hours, the show's going to improve, and it has been really a good show. And I'm sure no one had SmackDown in the conversation as the best WWE weekly show on their 2026 bingo card.
Nope, and I think a lot of that is because it's been fresh. Like they have call-ups, they shuffled the roster around a little bit, and I think they can continue with the momentum as well. But you had a lot of like, if you think about like SmackDown these last couple of weeks, right? One of the major differences is that if you look at SmackDown over the last 6 to 8 months, it's been inundated by tag team matches. Just the tag team picture is you'd have the Street Profits, the Motor City Machine, like you just have all the like the tag teams involved in an unhealthy way to where the show itself, most of the card was tag matches. Now the Street Profits aren't there, and I'm a fan of Montez, just for full disclosure, but I do think and Motor City, like I do think them being out of the picture right now, whether they're on vacation or taking some time off or whatever it is, I think that's been a net positive for SmackDown because it starts taking the focus off of a purely tag team driven show and it brings it back to singles with new faces, new signings, new call-ups. I think that's why the show's been better. It just feels fresher.
Well, the profits are off because neither are injured, but they want to try. They kind of like out of sight makes the heart grow fonder type thing. So that's why they're off, and the Motor Machine Guns are actually going to be working AAA.
And that's a good move because Motor City is. I mean, they're good. They're good in ring, no doubt about it. But I just don't really think they appeal to fans very much.
And you know what? To jump on what you were saying about the bloated roster, I would use, if I'm WWE, I hate saying the word use because all the narrative about how TNA is just a feeder system for whatever. If you have guys on the main roster that are not getting used, let them go be full-time with TNA. let them establish themselves with TNA, almost the way that WWF used ECW. You know, when guys didn't have something. Look at Al Snow. Al Snow jumped to all these ridiculous gimmicks, you know, different masks, and then he was the Leaf Cassidy, and he didn't really blow up until he was in ECW, and he got head. I know how that sounds, but
Yep.
you know, you get the point I'm making. Like, take guys who are not getting used, let them. TNA is lacking in talent. Let them go to TNA for 6 full months, full time. Leave them there. Don't have them jump back to NXT, back to the main roster. Literally leave them there for 6 to 8 months. Let them get a different experience. Let them get work in front of different fans. Let a different creative see if maybe they come up with something. Almost to the point that the difference between like what Toni Storm was in WWE to, you know, she went to AEW and she found the timeless persona, which she never would have found it in WWE. You know, it's almost like that. Like, let a guy, you know, I'm going to just throw an Apollo Crews, you know, for lack of a better person to use because he's somehow there still. Let him go and, you know, work there. Let him work in TNA and develop something maybe that WWE can see and bring him up, and maybe he'll actually, you know, be productive to the company. So, you know, that's how I would like work your TNA connection.
No, I agree. I think a lot of that though is, I don't want to blame him for everything, but like, I think a lot of that just comes down to Triple H's inexperience, honestly. I mean, if he even gets control, if he even has a say over all that, but like, I think he gives off the impression that he's experienced because of what he learned from Vince and so on and so forth. But I think ultimately you can see ultimately, like, if you see what's lacking and how it's lacking, I'm inclined to think that Triple H himself is just inexperienced. He's figuring it out as he goes in the PG era. Obviously, he's limited and bound by a few things, but right now also there's kind of like this roster war, right? Like between AEW and WWE, where they just sign everybody and don't release anybody, you know. So it's just kind of a crappy thing that's happening right now all around in wrestling. Like this claiming your territory via contracts type thing. I think it's hurting the industry more than not. And so it's removing that risk element, the business risk element. Like, hey, you know, what if we sign this guy? If he doesn't work out, we just release him. It removes that element, because then it's like, oh no, we're gonna put a lot of money into this dude. We're gonna build his gimmick, build his image, and then we'll release him so AEW can pick him up. And the opposite's true as well. I just think a lot of this is hurting the industry overall. So this is why the product is as stale as it is. It's still entertaining for what it is. I'm always going to watch wrestling. But, you know, it is going through a pretty stale period in which we look at these shows and we're like, oh crap, that was traditionally a 2 out of 10 show. But in today's viewer, to today's viewer, it's like, you know, a 7 out of 10 show, right? I just think we're watching a product of our time, and I think there's a lot of contributing factors to it. But this war between AEW, WWE, the inexperience of Triple H, a lot of different things play into it, I think.
Okay, Herm, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Jet after that.
Yeah, all the talk about TNA, the main gist I'm getting out of it, I could be 100% wrong on this one, but I think one of the things they wanted to do is they wanted to get in on some of the talent that they're getting in through the WWE ID program and through the NIL program. Because some of those kids are going to need to go somewhere, because they can't keep all of those kids involved in NXT forever. So there's going to be that. I don't know about sending main roster talent over to TNA. Unless you're just completely done with somebody. I don't know. I'm just going to throw a name out there. I'll say, like, if the Kabuki Warriors break up, you kind of know Kairi Sane's going to be the odd woman out. Or, like, if the MFTs break up, JC Mateo might be the odd man out there. That kind of thing. I don't know. They're not making a great impression so far. In fact, to be honest with you, I think the way WWE has handled AAA is leaps and bounds a lot better than how TNA is going right now.
Well, and finally, that I kind of got a chance to chime in. I think the difference, though, with the AAA relationship and the TNA relationship is, WWE has more of an investment to it because they own it now, and it's easier to appeal in different markets than it is to appeal in your own domestic market. Like, AAA doesn't really get WWE stars or WWE presence or representation ever, like, before the purchase. Now they get it almost whenever they request it or ask for it. El Grande Americanos, Dominic Mysterios, Santos Escobars, maybe a Chris Jericho eventually.
Judgment Day, Wyatt Six, yeah, it goes on and on and on.
You know what I mean? So in as far as the TNA thing, it's only a partnership, and yeah, we'll help you out, but they don't have that much of a diehard investment into it as a wrestling promotion. Like, again, I've said this multiple times. TNA to WWE is just another avenue to fuck with AEW. That's all it is. Yeah, we'll help you get a TV deal. Yeah, we'll help find someone to buy that company for you if you guys are selling it. Of course. Why do you think there's a clause in the fucking partnership that they can waive their right to, not be partners anymore if they're selling it to someone they don't like?
Right.
So, in terms of that, like, we know what TNA is at this point. We know it's what WWE is using them for and what they're using AAA for. So you got to just think of from the perspective. From a certain point, you also have to think, all right, TNA, you're also your own. You're still your own company. You're still a grown man who knows how to walk, talk, and shit, and eat on your own. You got to do something. But I definitely agree with you in terms of what TNA needs to do. It's just the WWE access argument is just a little different in terms of what WWE has invested into it. Like, they want to help TNA, sure, but they don't care if they sink, swim, or succeed or not. It's just an avenue to fuck with Tony. So Tony, it's not even to fuck with Tony, to get Tony off their backs a bit. Because if they're fighting a war with TNA, they ain't going to really be trying to fight a war with WWE at the same time. Because they'll just lose both.
Yeah, I don't see them being even in a war with WWE other than maybe Tony's head, but that's about it.
I'm just saying like this: if there's no TNA, if TNA don't have the TV deal right now or the partnership with WWE, it's only a two-dog fight. You know what I mean? The only competition would be still AEW and WWE.
Yeah, like I said, it's not much of a competition. It's like, I'll give you an example. People talk about, oh, well, if WWE does this or does that, they'll have a monopoly. And it's like, they kind of already do. They're like the only profitable wrestling company in the United States. They make the most money out of any wrestling company in the United States. It already is that. They are to wrestling what the NFL is to pro football. Everybody else is like the UFL, arena football, and all that other kind of shit.
I wanted to say something though. If you guys been noticing like the hypocrisy when somebody works in AAA and then when somebody works in CMLL, right? When they work in CMLL, they get praised. You don't hear like people saying, "Oh, they're demoted to CMLL," blah blah blah. But when they work with AAA, people are suddenly demoted, right? Like, and it's like, to me, that's really disrespectful too, just to the talent themselves. Because Santos Escobar, for example, the AAA crowd is, he's a legend to those people, to that fan base. So I really don't see the negative in that and why people are talking shit about it,
Well, people are always going to talk, have that brand war no matter what. Same thing with AEW versus WWE. It's the same thing with AAA and CMLL, and it's also guilty by association. So CMLL is aligned with AEW. AAA is owned by WWE. So, you know, it's just an extension of the tribalistic war. Jet, what you got?
I think this whole thing that TNA and the WWE are partnered because they're going to take down AEW is complete bullshit in my opinion. Because again, AEW is at where it's at, and I think TNA and WWE should focus on their own thing. This whole plot that I hate to sound like a sicko when I say this, AEW is far more above TNA. Especially after what I saw this weekend and how the production sucks, the matches, the format sucks. So this whole thing that WWE and TNA are going to take down AEW or using the fight to take down it, I don't think that's true at all, honestly. But as far as like sending people down, I do agree with that. If you're not going to use somebody, send them down to AAA. I think Santos should have been in AAA a long time ago once he resigned. Instead of just sitting on the sideline for 6 months or however long you go sidelines for. But also, it's just a lot of people that are just taking space in WWE, in AEW, in these other companies that are just taking space. And you got to do something with them. If you're not going to do that with them, let them go. But I do feel like a lot of times people are overestimating these wrestling companies and stuff like that.
Well, I think that for the Santos thing, I think they were waiting for the Fox debut to bring him in for AAA. So I think that's why like he was sitting on the side for the last 3 months because they wanted a relatively, you know, big surprise for their debut on
And that's it.
on Fox, you know, for Latino. So I think that's why, you know, I think that was part of the caveat that they were able to get Santos to resign.
Listen, I also just want to rebut Jet's point. I never said take down. I said fuck with. Like to sit here and say WWE isn't using TNA to fuck with AEW and fuck with them in some way, shape, or form. That's just being oblivious to the fact.
Can you explain to me how though, if you don't mind? Like
in terms of taking the market share of wrestling fans, in terms of attendance and ratings. Merchandise will remain to be seen because AEW never really did well in merch anyway, and their merch numbers aren't really that public anyway. Only Tony knows those numbers. So, and we never hear about them. So we don't hear that. Oh,
you know AEW has a higher audience. They have a higher audience.
AEW, that's what I'm saying. They do have a higher audience for now, but again, if say you got a whole pie, you start off with a whole pie. Guess what? Someone come in the room, I want a piece of the pie. All right, cool. You can have this little bit piece of pie, this little piece of pie of yours. Oh, guess what? Instead of splitting it 2 ways now you got to split it a third. You feel me? You still cutting into a bit of the pie. Yes, you ain't going to get as big a piece as you because it's your pie, but they getting a piece now. And you feel me? They can get more. It's about the potential. It's not like AEW and WWE are gaining fans right now. They were pushing people away, and TNA could be that thing to capture that lapsed fan. I'm not saying they're here to take.
After what I've seen Thursday and Saturday, TNA this is coming from somebody.
I don't know what you talking about. Saturday was fine. I like Saturday. Saturday was great. Don't talk shit about Genesis with me. You the wrong one. They had great. Like I said, it was the perfect pay-per-view.
They had fucking an AEW jobber fucking. Fuego del Sol he can eat shit. I don't care.
I interviewed him. We not gonna say any bad words about KJ Orso in this bitch, okay? Any motherfucker that I interviewed that works for TNA, I ain't saying bad things about, and I won't allow us to have bad things said about in my presence, okay? I got a good rap to protect.
Again, after what I saw on Thursday, Saturday I saw a clip. I haven't seen the whole show, so excuse me for that. TNA is not moving the fucking needle in AEW's.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. This episode is the deciding factor. I'm stating it right now. Give this episode a chance. It's gonna be better. I think it will potentially be better than any Dynamite because they're gonna fix a lot of the issues from the first episode.
TNA was like an issue. Tony would have been signing all this talent that he never signed before.
like I said, it's not about them being yes, it's kind of about them being an issue, but I think, like I said, it's coming from a point of the art of war. You're never gonna win the war if you're fighting on a two-war front. You're always
I
gonna
would say
lose.
to respond to Lloyd's point, I just think the reason why I think AEW is signing all this TNA talent is not because of TNA. It's not because Tony Khan is kind of scared. I think that's more of like TNA's poor mismanagement, if that makes sense. Because you should have been locked the Rascals down. If you knew you were going to have a TV deal, you should have been signed the Rascals. You should have been signed to take something. You should have been like. So I say that's more of like TNA mismanaging their money and like not prioritizing like solid talent they knew they needed. I wouldn't totally blame it on Tony Khan, if that makes sense.
I guess.
I also
Like I said, I was just rebutting your point. I wasn't gonna say they were gonna take out AEW because that's with the money Tony has, that motherfucker will live forever. He gonna be able to pay top tier talent to work for him, no matter if he's got a TV deal or fucking not. But in terms of fucking with Tony's business and tapping into the market share of lapsed wrestling fans, yeah, they're gonna be a fucking problem. That's gonna be a huge fucking problem.
Okay, unless they bring people in like, okay, you got the Hardys, you got AJ Styles. I can see that. But the people think what they have, like they're gonna be like, who the fuck?
No,
like,
they do need star power. Again, I stated this earlier during the TNA review that they need a star power. But it's not. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying they're gonna beat AEW, but fuck with their business and interfere with their business. TNA's drawing 2,500, 3,000 people. How much is AEW drawing again?
around the same 400,000, 500,000.
Oh, okay. So like, that's all I'm saying. Like, it could fuck with their business if they're drawing the same amount, going to the same places. Right? You know what I mean? I don't think AEW has one of those non-compete thing WWE has, where motherfuckers can't come in within 30 days after they ran a show. So like,
I just think TNA's business is all fucked up and like I said, with AEW signing again, it's like what I was talking about. Jake something's not gonna do shit. So I don't know why people were like, "Oh my god, they got Jake something." Like, if he would have signed 2 years ago or 2 minutes ago, we all know he ain't gonna do shit in AEW besides be a job on Collision or Ring of Honor. The Rascals ain't gonna do shit besides, like I said, I'm being nice. They may win the trio titles, maybe, but they're not gonna move the needle because, again, they do flippy dippy shit. They fit well at AEW. I just think that's more of like TNA mismanaging what the fuck they're doing.
all right, my bad. Let's get off the TNA AEW tangent. My bad. I didn't want to drag it down, Brandon. I am a terrible co-host. I'm over here extending topics longer than they need to be.
And to make sure you don't want to get dragged down, go to Bluetooth.com. Use my promo code DeeJay, all caps, no spaces, for your 20% off your first order. To make sure you don't get dragged down. And the Bears are going to fucking, never mind. They're not going to.
And if you can't afford the Blue Chew and you also don't want to get dragged down, go to your local church and listen to the word of your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Okay?
Christ, that's right.
I'm telling you, I'm getting better at this bit than you.
or if you're Leo, bend the knee to your Lord and Savior. 1/3 of the new AEW Trios Champion, Speedball Mike Bailey, his favorite wrestler and mine.
Leo, you want to go half on that speedball?
Absolutely not, G. Like, that dude is the worst thing to happen to wrestling. Like, I really do think because, like, everybody that he beats, like, you can't take them seriously anymore. You know, like, that's why I was, like, tripping because I was like, bro, if they book this motherfucker to pin Powerhouse Hobbs, it'll probably take months for me to take that fool serious.
Hey, bro, be careful, man. It's he, them, okay?
Like, bro, that's the shit that makes him uncool, bro. Like, bro, how are normal men gonna like this motherfucker, dude? You feel me? Like, how are we gonna enjoy him when we know he's a complete clown? Gee, like, I don't know, man. I just have to vent that frustration.
You gonna get me canceled, motherfucker. I'm telling you. You gonna be the listen. I'm telling you right now. I'm marking it in the fucking lore of the show. He's gonna be the reason Sean unfollows me or doesn't want to be my friends because he's gonna be over here starting shit, and I'm gonna be like, I have nothing to do with this. Listen, He's my guy and everything, but I don't. Listen, it's funny too because Sean hates.
I'm not talking about Sean though.
But like, listen, I agree. In terms of the Bailey on television thing, I'm gonna keep it just purely on television and not him as a person because I don't want to take this shit too personal. You know what I mean? He is bland as shit. He has no personality. And I agree with Leo. There's no reason to want to cheer or get behind this motherfucker other than he throws a good karate kick. And if I want to see that, I'll go watch fucking Michael Jai White do it. Because he has the best fucking kick I've ever seen in my life. Better than Joe Rogan's. This man kicks sound like a shotgun, okay? This man breaking fucking sandbags with his kick. He is a legend, okay? If I want to see people kick good, I'm going to do that. I don't need to watch freaking Daniel San Jr. over here trying to do some shit. No, I'm good. Speedball Bailey just doesn't do it for me in a wrestling landscape or perspective. He may do it for some people, but, and I will say this motherfucker got phenomenal teeth, okay? As much shit, Leo, you may not like this motherfucker. You got to admit, he got a good motherfucking smile. Okay.
No, he has you could tell
put that motherfucker in a Colgate commercial, Tony. Get a fucking deal with Colgate, okay? Sell some.
But just keep him away from wrestling. Keep him away from wrestling, so like us normal fans can enjoy the product.
At least I tried to segue it back to somewhat positive. Like I said, I understand. I'm with you in the terms of not liking him in a wrestling perspective, and personally, he don't do it for me. I'm not gonna get into the political aspects of the he, they, or that stuff because we'll be here all year playing with the semantics and all that shit. Like, I'll never get uncanceled for it. It's already bad enough everyone hates Kefis. I don't need to get to that levels of hate yet. I'm not ready for that kind of heat.
I love it, bro. I love it, man.
I'm just kidding.
Every time somebody tries to shit on me, dude, I get like this feeling inside. It just fills me, man. It's so good.
All right, man. We ain't going that far. Only one that feels up inside.
I'll make one other comment about something totally off topic. So one of the things that also, just kind of going back to like my comments earlier on WWE.
Is this going to be like Peter Griffin's? You know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah. What really grinds my gears, I'll tell you guys. Every time, it's so easy to predict when someone's taking time off in WWE. They drop a belt, or they finish a feud, and they're gone for months. Have you guys noticed that lately?
Give me some examples.
You got Fatu. You had Drew McIntyre after Damian Priest beat him. It's just constant. It's constant. I mean, if I sit here and think about him, it's constant.
Fatu, I'm only making an excuse for he had to get surgery.
And Drew was also.
But my point is this. It's like, so why are they giving time off after they drop a belt? Like Tiffany dropped a belt, left. I know she's injured or whatever, but it's just a recurring theme. It's drop the belt, end the feud. You're gone for 3 to 6 months, back to a return pop. Right? It's getting to be kind of predictable when you watch the product, and you see the culmination of a feud, and then that person's not going to be on TV for the next few months.
Well, the only reason I asked because I was hoping to get the Julia example out of you, because Julia is a definite example of that, of coming on TV, doing something for a few months, then missing for 3 months, then come on TV for 2 weeks.
So Julia is banging, first of all. However, she just can't get over it.
It's because in WWE, you have to get over by doing more than moves. Again, if doing moves got you over, Ricochet would have never fucking left.
I know, but I would say Ricochet was relatively over when he was in WWE. I mean, he wasn't like the crowd wasn't dead silent. I mean, he had some pretty great matches.
No, there were some matches where people were dead silent, not giving a shit about any of the flippy dudes, because people are like, we've seen it all from you already. What are you going to do next? We're enough to seeing you in the mid-cards just doing flips. We want you to do something, and it don't look like you're going to do anything, so what's the point in
I'm part of the minority. I'm part of the minority that thinks Ricochet was a lot better in WWE than he is in AEW.
See,
He's better without a mic, honestly.
That I agree with, but I think in AEW he fits better in terms of the style of wrestling.
Bro, they literally gave him a Make-A-Wish belt. They completely made up that belt for him, bro. Like there's like that's how they kept him happy, I feel like, but bro, it's the most meaningless belt in wrestling right now.
Let's try not get back to the AEW bashing, so we don't have to hear the but they bashed the AEW all the time.
Don't forget when him and Swerve feud over a bastard.
God damn it!
Well, I want to.
My man said him and Swerve. Go ahead, Brandon.
I want to read about Kefis because every example he gave, they actually were banged up and injured. Jacob Fatu had to get his teeth done. He was out. Tiffany's injured. Drew was banged up, and he was only gone for like 3 weeks because he.
No, Brandon, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think a lot of these they are injured. You're right. It just
I was just only stating because what he's saying is right. He was just giving bad examples. Like Julia is a good example of that. I would say even the Miz. You don't even see the Miz that much no more. Where the fuck is R-Truth?
Well, look at R-Truth. Like everyone went crazy about him. He gets in a match with Cena and then he's gone. You know, it's like he shows up.
That I agree.
Times. But it's just a recurring theme.
You needed better examples.
Can I give an example?
For sure.
I think Keith just gave that example. Can I give an example? AJ Lee. Like, she comes back,
AJ Lee.
come back, Lee.
Right, but
AJ Lee, Roman Reigns. I mean,
those are different situations. Those are guys who are literally part-timers.
I was going to say, Roman's definitely a different situation.
They are
AJ,
different situations. But even like the injuries are just, like, they're just so commonplace now, honestly.
Not to stroke my own ego, but I told you motherfuckers that AJ Lee wasn't gonna do shit. All y'all, not saying anybody
bro,
here.
What are you talking about, bro? She handed Io a trash can.
No,
listen, wait, Jet, if you're gonna stroke your own ego, go to BlueChew.com.
BlueChew.com. Use the promo code DEAL. Yes, but no, when AJ Lee was first reported coming back. Not anybody in here. I think Lloyd and DeeJay, y'all were enough as why I'm saying it. I'm not saying anybody in here, but you motherfuckers, fucking, she's gonna come back and be women's champion. She's gonna come back and do this, that. She's gonna be this. She's gonna do a TV room. This bitch. Now I ain't call her a bitch. No, I ain't call her a bitch. Record his face. This girl ain't did fuck all. She's had what 3 matches?
And you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate though. At the time, everyone assumed she was coming back full time. She's literally she's back on a part-time schedule. She literally signed to be on a Roman schedule to come in.
Well, yeah, but the initial reports. I mean, I have screenshots of them. The initial reports said full time, you know, and then it was later that they later provided clarification. But the initial reports all said full time.
But she's basically a she's not there to be full-time, so she's there for the return pop and for the main, you know, the big shows. So she's not there to be a deciding factor of moving a needle. So, you know, again,
AJ Lee, I'm going to say this, I don't care who gets offended. You can get offended. AJ Lee is the most overrated. Her and her husband are the most overrated couple in fucking wrestling history. Besides Becky and Seth, they're the most overrated couple in fucking wrestling history, and I will not change my mind.
Yeah, bro, me and you have a lot in common, man.
Yeah.
Hold on. There's someone who's been left out the chat who just had thumbs down, thumbs up, blah blah blah, and I want to get his fucking thoughts. Lombardi, you there?
Well, he didn't raise his hand. That's why I didn't call on him.
No, listen, don't worry about it. I got him. He's priority always on my list.
I just heard some blasphemy about the best in the world and the other best in the world, but it's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Speedball's not the best in the world, though.
No, I'm saying this as a CM Punk fan, and Cold Pro DeeJay, I'm a CM Punk fan. I will tell you, that man is overrated.
I don't know about that. But is anyone ever really as good as they're rated? Is there anyone ever really that good anyway?
Take a microphone out of Punk's hand. What else do you have?
Great wrestling.
Great storytelling.
That dude is not a great wrestler. I'm sorry. I mean, look, you can like CM Punk all you want, But to call him a great wrestler, like nobody can call him a great wrestler. He's not. He's just,
I'm calling him a great wrestler right now. Yes, he's a
AJ
great
Lee,
wrestler.
I'm gonna say this about AJ Lee. And me and Copra talked about this. She was a big fish in a small pond. What I mean by that is, she was a great wrestler when everybody else was dog shit. Now that you put her in an era where everybody can wrestle, and everybody's on the same level or above her, she cannot keep up with these girls today.
You can say the same thing about Trish
Yeah,
Stratus.
but hold on. But how often has AJ Lee been wrestling with the people of today? She hasn't. She wrestled in the past. She had her group in the past. She was in that Divas era. Then she was there, like, towards the cusp of the women's evolution, left because she was not dealing with that bullshit after everything with Punk, and she's only been back for one match. So, I mean, you can't say that she can't keep up now. She hasn't had a chance to.
she's been back for at least two matches.
Right, she's done the War Games and she's done the mixed tag.
True, yeah, sorry, I forgot she was in War Games.
Okay, but she also hasn't had a singles match.
I don't think she will either.
No, I think it's her.
I think they do her and Becky at some point.
They're doing her and I think they're saving her and Becky for Mania.
100%, yeah. She'll be in the Rumble, I think.
Oh yeah, and she'll be in the Rumble too, and she'll probably eliminate Becky from the Rumble, and that's gonna further the storyline to lead to WrestleMania.
Yeah, but that's my whole thing. She was like one of the, like when the Divas era, they were getting like 35-minute matches, and they were doing this, they were doing that.
And who else in the Divas era could wrestle? You had AJ, Page, and Emma.
That was about it. And everybody was just
Natalia could wrestle. Natalia, I'd argue. That's just me.
No, you're right. I throw Natalia in there too.
Well, like other than that, like.
No, they didn't have a lot to work with. They barely had anybody to work with, no question.
But now, they all can.
Oh, 100%. Even the greenest people can wrestle. I mean, what they're doing with Kendall Gray right now, Kendall Gray is going to go down as like one of the greatest women to wrestle. It's like my sincere, honest
And
opinion.
also, it will go down as one of the greatest porn star names to never exist.
what the fuck?
Until she gets released.
Jet, wow, I'm disappointed, Jet. DeeJay literally threw it up for you to freaking hit a home run, and you totally dropped the ball.
Hold on. If you want to fucking...
He dropped...
You want to fucking... Hold on. Bluetooth.com. Promo code is shit. Okay, thank you.
God damn, I was gonna say I really did lay it up for you though. Like you got to be impressed how impressive the layup was. I did that shit like D-Wade in his prime.
I didn't catch it at first, but if you want to catch it, go to Bluetooth.com.
I mean,
if you don't want to catch it, go to your local urgent care and get the shot in your ass.
Listen. In all seriousness, back to Jet's point about AJ, I do agree that she was more advanced in skill than a lot of the people that were in her era. And now that, she took a decade off and now that she's back, everyone is more advanced skill-wise than her. But, I don't think anyone expected her to come back and putting on, Meltzer 5-star matches. She came back for the name value. She came back for, the nostalgia pop. Let's call it what it is. But I also think that, it's also giving her a chance off screen to, get the ring rust off. So when she does have that singles match, most likely with Becky, it will hopefully not be complete dog shit.
I think nobody was expecting her to pull the whole mental health thing when she came back either.
Oh no, I don't think she was given carte blanche to just say whatever she wants. I'm sure creative knew.
No, I mean the fans. Not so much the creative. Like that was, in my opinion, look, mental health. Everyone has mental health issues, whatever. But that was a massive turnoff. Like that, she continuously mentions it in her promos, and then she looks nervous doing her promos. Like, just everything is off about it. Honestly, everything is off about her right now.
But again, it's rusty. You haven't done something in a decade, So obviously she still should be able to speak in front of people.
Brandon, do we give Trish this kind of fucking gratis? Like, oh, she's rusty. She's been out for 10 years. Do we give Trish this kind of gratis, or do we sit here and tell Trish when she does bad or has a bad match?
Right, but Trish
So are we
has
saying she had a
Well,
bad
you can
match?
you can use Nikki Bella too. Like I don't like her at all.
And Nikki
as
too.
some of you guys know, but she's been putting in work. Like she's been wrestling a lot. Like yeah, she sucks ass, whatever, but she's been putting in work. So I think we have to be, we do have to be equitable on how we judge these people.
No question. I mean, first of all, I completely agree that I think Nikki does not get the flowers she deserves because she's unfortunately kind of blemished as the face of that Divas, era where, like, it was bad because, they gave her that title reign just to erase AJ's, record and stuff like that before they ended up ultimately giving it to Charlotte. So I agree with you on that part. But my question with this AJ topic for a second is, what is our criticism of AJ right now? Are we saying that she's not doing enough work right now, or are we saying that the work she has done hasn't been good? Because I thought the 2 matches she was in she did pretty good. I thought.
My criticism is,
but what did she do in the War Games match? Like, I'm not trying to like trick you or anything, but what did she actually do in the War Games match?
Okay, so my first criticism is one. I feel like this might be a hot take, but I don't feel like she'll be getting this much hype if she wasn't married to CM. Like anybody could have been married to CM Punk.
First of all, I completely disagree with that. I don't think it had anything to do with her being married to CM Punk. I think it had to do with AJ Lee being AJ Lee and the way she left, and she just like disappeared out of the blue, saying that she's retired.
Again, that's my opinion. I feel like
let me add to that real quick, Jack, because Brandon's right in that aspect because she wasn't always tied to Punk.
No,
not even for any bit of her career in WWE. Everything that she was tied to Punk was everything after she left.
She had that one feud that one storyline where it was her, Punk, and Bryan and Kane. But that was great. That was like a one-time they were like kind of together, like in a storyline, but like it wasn't like she was his sidekick. Like there was a love triangle 4-way box thing going on. But yeah, no, she wasn't tethered to him.
That's it to me. I feel like she would have never got this much hype. Like, if Oksana was married to fucking CM Punk, they would have hyped her up so fucking crazy.
But it wouldn't have.
I think you're underestimating the lore of AJ. You got to understand, without AJ, we don't get Paige. There's no Paige without AJ Lee. And without what she meant during that context
I'll give her way too much credit. I'm just saying, as a person that watched that live, y'all giving her way too much credit.
AJ was also the only girl at that time that could cut a promo.
Her character work was insane, guys. But she was doing.
Oh my God, she was better than what? Fucking the Funkadactyls? Oh my God, I could be better than the Funkadactyls.
Time out. One of them's nailed. Okay, wait, you do understand? Jet, you do understand one of the
What was her competition back then? Fucking like I said, Oksana. Oh my God.
Right, so she could have also been equally with your. But to that point, she could have also just mailed it in. She could have just mailed it in and been terrible. She wasn't.
I'm about to kill his whole logic. So by that logic, Trish ain't shit. Because who the fuck was Trish?
When Trish was wrestling, I was in my dad's nutsack. So I don't understand about that. I'm talking about when I watched live my own 2 eyes. Her competition was Oksana, Caitlyn, the fuck of that. Naomi kept on later on, so I'll give Naomi her credit. She kept on later on. But Tamina was her competition. Like, my 12-year-old ass, 10, 11, 12-year-old ass, could have promo better than fucking Ariana. I could have better promo than Caitlyn back then. Eve Torres, get the fuck out of here. Like, that was her competition? And y'all are hyping her up? Really? That was her competition? Total Divas? That was her competition? Oh my God. Such a dope. What the fuck?
Again, name me 2 bitches from the Attitude Era who were real competition outside Lita and Trish.
In the Attitude Era, I was in my dad's nutsack, so I cannot answer that question. I just said that.
So everyone add an asterisk next to Jet's opinion from now on. Wasn't out of nutsack till after 2000s.
And that was before his dad was able to go to BlueChew.com, keyword the heel, and get 35% off because it's better than Jet's 20%.
And if anybody has mental scarring from these 2 motherfuckers constantly pushing these boner pills, call BetterHelp.
But
use the promo code DeeJay. and someone will be there to talk to you and talk to you.
But my whole thing is here might hype AJ up because she's married to CM Punk.
But it's again, stop with that narrative. It has nothing to do with her.
Low competition at the time. She was fucking cutting promos against total divas. Like, me at 10, 11, 12 years old, they cut a better promo than the fucking total divas.
But it has nothing to do with Punk. You're trying to connect her to Punk to justify your opinion. But if she came back in a completely different angle that did not involve Punk, it would have been the same exact effect.
It wouldn't have.
Yes, it would.
In my opinion, no, it wouldn't.
You're trying to connect her to Punk to justify your opinion, like she wouldn't have had it the same pop. For years and years, every Royal Rumble, everyone was saying, this is the year AJ returns. This is the year AJ returns.
Again, because who she's married to. If she wasn't married
it had nothing to do with Punk.
But that's
like,
not
true.
To your other point about the group she had to work with, that's like saying Wilt Chamberlain wasn't a great basketball player because everyone else he had to play against was shorter than him and were plumbers.
And Bill Russell wasn't exactly. That's like saying Bill Russell wasn't a great player because the only reason he won 10 championships because he was the only other nigga on the court.
Exactly. That's facts. Like.
Come on now. Nah, it's not facts. Bill Russell was still great. He's still one of the greatest champions of all time. Wilt Chamberlain is still the only motherfucker to drop 100.
That's like saying Babe Ruth, his 714 home runs are invalidated because he was playing against...
Because no one was on steroids.
I don't know, man. They call John Stockton an actual plumber, and the dude is the all-time steals and assists record holder.
I don't know. I just want to say, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game is such bullshit.
Okay, all right, fuck that. My nigga averaged 50 for the regular season. 50.
I'm gonna point out something. We seen film of fucking Martin Luther King. We seen film of Rosa Parks. We see film of motherfucking Disney back in 1920. Where is the film of this nigga dropping 100? Show me the film. We seen film of everything else.
Hold up though. You can't comment on that because you aren't even in your daddy's nutsack yet.
Thank you. You were in your father's nutsack, nigga. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Only talk about nutsack talk around here.
Which one of you niggas can show me the film of Tony dropping 100?
Talk around here, okay? Don't need to hear that. Thank you, Cole Pro, for fucking pointing that out.
Show me the film where he dropped 100 points. I've seen it.
If you can't comment on Trish Stratus, you can't comment on Wilt Chamberlain.
All right. Let's get back to wrestling. We're going too much on the side tangent. Yo, we going off the rails today, and I fucking.
DeeJay, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Did we talk about TNA's show on AMC yet and how absolutely fucking dog shit it was?
Yeah, we did, but you can throw your thoughts out while I gather myself.
No, all I was gonna say, and I don't want to just repeat what has already been said maybe a million times here, but I really wanted to like that show, like really badly, and I was sitting there going, oh man, this sucks, because if this is someone's first impression of TNA, they're going to have no interest in turning on the show next week. That's just my opinion. I don't know what anybody else thinks. Let
me explain to you my thoughts, because I'm in the minority, and everybody else is pretty much in your majority on that point and aspect. I said this first show was to introduce everyone to the stars, because I don't see the point in just throwing unknown wrestlers out there with no context, no story. You feel me? For a first-time viewer, especially before a pay-per-view, you're just going to throw wrestlers out there with no context of the storyline, not knowing who's baby faces or heels, who you should be cheering for, who you should be going against, who's what personality, you know what I mean? There would be no point in doing that for the first episode, especially before a pay-per-view, trying to establish yourself. I think 3 matches was too little, though. They should have I think 4 matches would have been the perfect happy medium. Do 4 15-minute matches, then an hour of video promos and vignettes, and figure out how to format that in between and space it out to make it a good, coherent show. In terms of the wrestling, the first match was really good. Second match got fucked up by the bad formatting in the commercials, and it was a terrible finish on top of that. Main event was pretty good until the last 10 minutes where Santana just decided to no-sell everything.
I also didn't hate the Sonya Deville segment.
Oh, yeah. Sonya Deville and Cora Jade, that segment actually worked. The Santino getting fucking bullied down by Sonya, and then Cora Jade debuting as the new bitchy heel that's under fucking management's thumb. that kind of work, and it could honestly, that might be the perfect thing to help take some heat off Tessa. Because that honestly, we need to take some heat off of her because she's your best female wrestler, and you need to start featuring more now on television. No matter if they're gonna, but I think they're worried about the crowd taking over and chanting "You're a racist" across the airwaves.
You also need to get a crowd in there, and you also can't be doing fucking shots of insanely empty sections of your arena when you're doing a pano. Like, I'm sorry, like, that was really rough to see.
Yeah,
and again,
I said that too. They shouldn't have focused everyone on the hard cannon side. They should have just spaced everyone out and taped, focus on not shooting the high, high parts of the arena or whatever. But
it matters. It matters to a first-time viewer because, to your point, like, okay, I don't know any of these people. They're trying to introduce me to these people, but if the crowd just, I don't know what it was with that crowd. For some reason, to me anyway, they didn't, seem nearly as hyped up as they needed to be. They were hyped for AJ. AJ came out, and that was really good and stuff. But then, afterwards, it just didn't seem like it carried on throughout the show. But that, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, because I think they also felt the same letdown that everyone else expected going into it, that they wanted to see a lot of people who were there wanted to see the wrestling because they know everything that's going on in TNA. The people who are there aren't going knowing what's not going on in TNA. You know what I mean? So, in terms of the audience there was expecting a lot of the people at home, the smart fans like us who were watching at home was expecting, a somewhat wrestling having show, a regular wrestling show, to where I think that's going to be more next week. Next week's going to be more of a wrestling centric show because it's after the pay-per-view. They're trying to start some new angles, start some new interests. They're going to be able to establish their stars now after introducing everybody. I think the second show is the real show. They're going to try to knock everyone's socks off because now everyone's established. Everything's in. You got a new star in Cora Jade that's probably going to debut in a promo or a match. You got Daria out here making matches and being managing. What'd you say? I'm sorry?
You got Beast or Fired next week.
That too. There's a new member of the system coming in. So that's another new person they're bringing in. So
I think one good thing we got to give them credit on is they're at least giving us episodic television where you can look forward to the next week.
Oh God!
You know what's gonna happen. It's not just a bunch of matches put together.
But they
feel like they had to scramble.
But they failed at that, though, Leo. They failed at that.
I wouldn't say they failed. I would say they let a lot of people. They let a lot of people down. And what a lot of people, they let down a lot of people's high expectations.
You know what I will say? I feel like Aaron broke it down the best, to be honest. I feel like his review is exactly everything that I thought, and he gave a detailed review where he gave it a 6 out of 10. I'm gonna keep it real.
I swear to fucking God, Leo. First off, if you didn't say that first part, if you just said some podcaster I watch, I would have just fucking went with you and went along with it. Because, again, I'm with y'all on the point that it wasn't as bad as everyone else is making this seem, because I knew what they were trying to do with this show. Introduce all their quote-unquote stars and their talent, and then next week is going to be the bigger show. I realized that after AJ came out for 5 minutes, the first match, what it was, and we got pretty much the first hour of nonstop promos and vignettes. I'm like, okay, they're trying to establish everyone, get their names out there. Introduce the Elegance brand. They did it in the worst way possible, but at least they did it. And they introduced a bunch of they introduced Daria as the new, management, a known face for management, like a WWE well-known face for management, so that could draw up some interest. Cora Jade as well. She gets the simpers out. So, I think, again, this coming up week is the real test. If this is a bad show, if this week is a bad show, DeeJay will eat all the fucking crow in the world. Because I am banking on this as a TNA fan. I am banking on the fact that they're going to come out and put a good television wrestling show on and show everyone what TNA is really about.
But here's my thing, DeeJay, because you're saying that because you're a wrestling fan, you're a TNA fan and you're a wrestling fan. I think if one of the best things that WWE does as part of their formula is they feel like when they're on for their shows, it's always an opportunity to gain new audience, right? That's why they do so much recaps. That's why they do so much over-explaining, because they want to remind some of the fans who maybe are a little bit more just mainstream or just kind of lapsed that just kind of come back and forth when they want to, or people who've never seen the show before. TNA, that was your opportunity to make a first impression. And my thing is that you only get one opportunity to make a first impression. And it just kind of felt like if I'm not either a big wrestling fan or if I'm a wrestling fan who's never watched the TNA product before, like I'm a young fan, and I watch that, I'm just going like, man, I watch NXT and I watch WWE, and like this is nowhere near as good as that.
But you also have to consider that TNA was also in the situation of they had to make their first impression as their go-home show for their pay-per-view.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yes.
So you know what I mean? What if you go balls to the wall, the first like an AEW kind of show, you're gonna and they were already on a limited roster because of visa issues and certain people not being able to come over and people leaving last minute, etc., etc. You can tell they did a lot of this shit on the fly, and was trying to just do the best they can do with a bad situation and already in a somewhat difficult situation as is. So I think they did a good job in, trying to establish who's their stars are on TV. Who are we going to feature? Who's going to be on the episodic who's going to be on next week? You know what I mean? At least we know with all those promos and vignette segments that we saw, we're going to see all those same people again on the next episode and furthering shit out. And it's going to be a new chapter. You know what I mean? In TNA's mind, this is the episode to really start the new chapter of things. Yes, they might have a slight diminishing returns from the debut, which was already going to be known because, that's how debuts work. But I don't think it's going to be drastic like everyone thinks it is. I think there's still going to be a few people who's going to want to give TNA a chance just because they know, like, they're like me. They knew what we were getting. And as far as the casual viewer, it's a new thing on AMC. I don't think people are going to tune it out yet until the first month.
And you also got to think too. What else is TNA trying to get? Trying to get that last TNA fan back. They're trying to get that old school TNA fan. So because TNA back in the day was drawing 1.5 million viewers. So they're trying to if they can get a portion, they can get a quarter of that back. Or they can get even part of that back. I think it's a success.
Yeah, but you also can't compare the way people watched TV 15 years ago to now either.
And the landscape. I mean, it was just TNA besides WWE.
No, that's why I said if they can get a portion of that back, it's a success.
And again, I would give TNA an excuse if it was like AEW, to where it was like a 5-year-old company, 6-year-old company. But this company's been around as long as I've been alive, literally 24 years. So I can't give it the well, if they get this back, if they do this, they do no. It's just their fourth TV deal, fifth TV deal. So we can't keep on giving them excuses.
I actually think they fucked up by having it the week before Genesis. They should have had their debut episode should have been the post-Genesis show. Because then you could start fresh without having to worry about the pay-per-view. So I think...
Was that really their call, though?
Well, then they negotiated it wrong then. You don't think they couldn't... If you don't think that they could have told... Let's say AMC went to Silva and said that we want to debut on the 15th. You don't think that Silva could have negotiated and be like, well, we have a pay-per-view 2 days later. I think we would have more returns and a better presentation if we did it the week after. They would have just shown another 2-hour movie in that slot. It wouldn't have been any skin off AMC's nose. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? I think they just fucked up in that portion where they would have been better off having it post-Genesis, where you could have started all these storylines fresh as a good jumping on point instead of, having this episode and then, oh, by the way, in 2 days, throw down $40 because we have a pay-per-view, but you don't know anyone who's on it if you're just tuning in for the first time. I just feel like, they would have been better off having this Thursday be their debut as opposed to the go-home show for their pay-per-view.
Well, no, and to say, you don't measure, TV ratings the way you used to, you're right. But at the same time, there's no other way to measure it. because like people don't watch TV the way they used to. No, but there is no other way to determine who's watching than by going by the numbers. Like they're so to say that TNA, like AEW doesn't draw what TNA did back in the day, is a fair comparison because there's no other way to look at it.
But my whole point,
I mean, I can understand all these excuses if TNA, again, it was a 5, 6, 7-year-old company. But this company is 24 years old on their 5th TV deal, 4th or 5th TV deal. Like, they should know better. At this point, they should know better. Tell me they can't get the ghost. It's like Brendan said. You tell me they can't get the ghost state for their first episode to be the poke show, not the go game show.
But this is the way I know you hate comparisons. I know this, but this is the way I'm going to compare it. In 1997, the WWE was already how old of a company?
I don't know, 30 years, 30, 35 years
I was
old.
gonna say WWE in the 90s didn't exist. WWF existed
It's
forever.
the same company, bro.
I'm just fuck. I know. I just had to be an asshole and fuck with you.
No, but like so the WWF in 1997 was already been around for fucking
30 years.
40 something.
No, it was 30. It was the WWF was still in this. It was still the WWF in the 70s. So about 30 years.
Right.
But it was Capital Wrestling in the 50s.
right? But you got to go by '82 when Vince Jr. bought it because
Why? It's the same company.
Because
No,
but he
yeah,
changed
the
the,
direction of it was
a
totally
slight
different at that point.
You-
It was
he-
a different
I'll
company.
stay for the historical context though, because it was the territory difference was there was a huge difference from the WWF territory and the WWF territory. There was a huge expansion difference.
But the point I'm making, the WWF in 1997 was already a however old company. They were in a rebuilding stage. They didn't make any money from 93 to 97. Like, they were in a rebuilding stage. That's where TNA's at now.
This is TNA's what? 30,000 fucking rebuilding stage? How many times are you going to rebuild?
TNA hasn't been on a major network since 2014.
You see, this is what you get, Nick, for dragging us back to TNA conversation.
wait,
I'm
but
sorry.
look, but I want to wait, but I want to
They
hit.
haven't been on a major network since 2014.
I want to hit Lloyd back with something though. You're saying that got lost my thought now. You're saying that in 92 to 96 WWF didn't make money, but the business itself wasn't making money and the business was down. That's much different than it is now. Everyone's making hand over fist money. AEW made 180 million presumably last year. WWE last quarter alone made $207 million. So, the business is pretty healthy compared to what it was from 92 to 96. So, and like I said, you can't compare, TV habits and all that from that long ago to now.
And this is also a company that's had a really good partnership with WWE for the last year or so. They had a lot of their talent featured on their shows. They had their championships defended on those shows. I mean, there should be some name recognition involved in that too.
Yeah, but
and also to add on top of that, we shouldn't be talking about anything pre-97 anyway because Jet didn't exist and he's
I
being
wasn't
left out
born,
of the
thank you. Thank you, I wasn't born.
He was still in the nutsack, okay? So we can't talk about it or he'll feel left out.
There's no people were actually born after the year 2000. It doesn't exist. It's a lie. It's a government lie.
I'm glad y'all understand.
Well, let's wrap up the TNA talk. I want to just hit one last point before we move to our last topic for the day. Jet, I think you're completely wrong with the saying that AJ Lee only gets the reaction she's getting because of who she's married to. I think that's
who she's married to.
I think that's completely off.
In my mind, I'm right. Okay.
All right. But the last thing I want to talk about is Saturday night's main event is next weekend. We have 2 matches so far, and I just want to get everyone's thoughts on those matches.
So hey, there. So since we're not talking about anything 1997, so the first champion when you were born was Hulk Hogan.
The first champion I was born was The Rock.
Oh wow, okay, so So The Rock is only a 2-time champion then.
Yes, because he lost to Brock Lesnar that SummerSlam 2 weeks later after I was born. Well, 3 weeks later after I was born. So he was
The very first ever SummerSlam.
yes, at the very first ever SummerSlam after Brock Lesnar won the very first ever King of the Ring. Yes.
All right. So Saturday night's main event. I think Jacob and Cody's going to be a good match.
Jacob has to go over, in my opinion. Cody can afford to lose to Jacob.
Cody can afford to lose for the next 3 months.
There's absolutely no reason.
I don't think Jacob goes over clean, though, if I'm being honest. I don't think he goes over clean.
No, hell yeah, he goes over clean. Fuck you mean?
I think it'll be some, like, fuckery. I think Drew will get involved some way, somehow.
No, Cody.
It's kind of like,
there's no reason for. Wait, that doesn't make sense. There's no reason for Drew to get involved. Why would
He's the champ. He doesn't need to be involved.
He told Jacob that he didn't do it to him. He's done with Cody because he doesn't have a rematch clause. Why would he keep going back to guys that he's moving forward from?
WWE we were talking about. They never end shit. This is WWE we were talking about. You can say one thing and do another. That's like me saying I'm gonna shit today. And I haven't shit yet. We say shit all the time. Don't mean it.
And then, who do we think's winning the 4-way? It's probably going to be Sammy, isn't it?
Randy or Sammy.
That's Randy. No, it's not going to be Sammy. It's Randy. They ain't going to have Sammy lose in Saudi Arabia, guys. I don't know what you guys are fucking thinking or smoking.
It is going to be Randy or Sammy. I would lean towards Randy. You could do a thing where Sammy wins, he loses to Drew, and then he joins the Rumble. But that I think is just too convoluted. So I think it's Randy.
I think they're going to be too protective of making Sammy lose in Saudi Arabia. I think it's slightly different him losing in the Rumble because, you know, it's the Rumble. It's not him getting pinned 1, 2, 3. But they're not going to have Sammy have a match in Saudi Arabia and lose. They'll let him be in the Rumble, let him get the big pop, and go on from there. But it's going to be Randy. That's my only guess. Or that's the only logical option. Not even my only guess. Why the fuck do anything else?
I think it's fair to say Damien's in there just to get pinned because they're not going to pin Trick.
Exactly.
Rick looked insane in London, man. That guy is over as fuck.
Well, they love, and you got to understand, overseas they also go over the top with the fan participation. Let's see how over he is. Let's see if he's still that over back in the States. But I do agree in London, he looked, based on television, if you're just watching television and you're seeing Trick for the first time on television with that reception, you'd think he's God.
He got the same reception when he debuted, and that was in the States.
Listen,
wait, 1 sec, Nick. The only thing that was missing was Booker T. Yeah, that's right. You should
put Big E on the call. Just throw Big E on the commentary. That's just for fucking Trick's entrance.
Yeah, or have Booker's voice just go, over the music. So at the same point, you hear him over the loudspeaker going, "Yeah, that's right." Whatever.
I'm gonna give you credit on this, DeeJay. You predicted before the start of the year that this is probably gonna be the most star-studded Rumble match ever.
Yeah, it's going to be slightly more stacked than last year. Long as they don't pull a fucking Jey Uso out their ass again and fuck everything up that was supposed to be good, we'll be great. Everything will be smoothly for Mania. Everything for Mania is falling into pieces the way it should be. If Braun Breaker turns out to be the champion going into Mania, the only match I want to see is him and Roman. Even though it would piss me off, Roman going after the number 2 belt. It's the thing Braun needs to put him over that next level. As far as,
so you think Roman wins the Rumble?
Possibly. No, I think Gunther wins the Rumble. I think Braun's the World Heavyweight title will be chosen or determined by the Chamber this year. I think the WWE title's getting chosen by the Rumble winner because my pick right now is Gunther. I got Gunther winning the Rumble, going after Drew.
I read that Roman is actually out side of the title picture for Mania, if you believe the dirt sheets, because they said that Triple H saw the road to WrestleMania, didn't like it. They're not going with Cody against Roman again for the third time in 4 years because Triple H feels there's going to be fan fatigue from that. So it looks like that it might be possible that Roman's actually out of the title picture.
Honestly, if you think about it, I think a bigger match for Mania is Roman and Punk. Get the belt off Punk before Mania. Have
Or you do Roman Cody without the title.
No, I don't. You don't do. For me, in my eyes, you don't do Roman and Cody until SummerSlam. I think that's the soonest you can pull that trigger. If you're ever gonna pull that trigger again, do it for SummerSlam. That has to be like that's a main event for a SummerSlam, not a Mania. I think them two wrestling at Mania is done everything they needed to do. They had the big first match and they had the even bigger second match. They ain't gonna have a third match that's just as big. It's gonna be a letdown on Mania.
You need a trilogy. You need straight up one-on-one. You need 3 times that many because Rock and Austin did it. So the style, I know that was the same year I was born. WrestleMania 19, I think. Yeah. 03.
I think, like I said, with how big they're making SummerSlam now, SummerSlam is just basically a halftime Super Bowl Mania.
I think if Roman's out of a title picture, I think you finally end the 10-year-old saga, and you do Seth versus Roman, especially if Braun Breaker goes against Punk for the title, and then you could lead to doing Seth getting his revenge against Braun for SummerSlam.
No, if Seth is back for Mania season, it has to be him and Braun. Because I think you want to get that over with as quick as possible to get Seth onto different things and Braun onto different things. You're not going to want that Vision storyline to drag out with Seth. And so if Seth is in the plan, I haven't even been thinking about Seth, but if Seth is in the plans, it's got to be Seth and Braun for the title. And the only thing I'm trying to figure out is who's Drew's opponent. And the only thing that makes sense is Gunther. Unless Gunther is going for Brock, then Jacob's the only logical option based on storytelling. But I don't think Jacob's going to beat Drew for the belt at Mania. So I know the Rumble winner will be Drew's opponent. Because that's going to be the hardest thing to figure out in terms of the story, in terms of building, and in terms of getting people interested. The world heavyweight title pretty much is made no matter what. If Punk has the belt, you can do him and Roman, him and Braun. You got options there. If Braun wins the belt, you're a lot more open to your challengers, and you got until the Chamber to figure it out, instead of having to figure it out right there at the Rumble. So I think there's a lot of potential. There's a lot more potential going into this Rumble because there's a lot more potential going into Mania because you don't know what matchups are what yet. But go ahead, Brandon.
I just think that this might be the most unpredictable road to WrestleMania, even the Royal Rumble, than we've had in a long time. So I think that's a good thing. Because we have no idea who's winning the Rumble. We have no idea. We knew last year, we pretty much knew where we were going as far as matches for Mania and stuff like that. And I feel like right now we have no idea what direction they're going. And I think that's a very good thing for WWE creative with how predictable they usually are.
What you do with Cody, I'm going to tell you exactly what you do with Cody. And I got the perfect answer to what you do with Cody. Okay, so Cody loses the Rumble, loses the Chamber. The Usos have no challengers, okay? You have him and Matt Cardona, former tag team.
Okay, stop. I'm muting you. I'm gonna not even let you finish that idea out. So you don't.
Let me finish my idea.
No. In all seriousness, it should be the Usos against the Lucha Brothers at WrestleMania.
I'm gonna tell you. No. I'm gonna tell you. Have him and Matt Cardona, former tag team, Matt Cardona goes back to Zack Ryder. Their
See,
tag team name is
this
the
is why I
Sweet
tried
Life
to.
of Zack
This is
and
why I
Cody.
tried to mute him because I didn't want him to embarrass himself, but he did it anyway.
The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody versus the Usos tag team titles. Book it.
Anyway,
Oh my God.
I think that's pretty much all we got for today. We're at 2.5 hours. I think that's pretty good. DJ,
I'm pretty
you got anything else?
pooped out. No, I'm all good. I got all my rage out in the first 10 minutes.
Does anyone want to add something before we end up for the day?
I want to add.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Wait a second. Does anyone but Jet want to add something before we end for the day? Because he's wait, first off, why are you even time before we go? Why are you even talking about Saved by the Bell? You weren't in your parents' nutsack.
That's not Saved by the.
That's literally Saved by the Bell.
No, it's not.
That's
Sweet
Life of Zack and Cody.
God damn
Oh,
it,
I heard
that shows your fucking age.
I heard Zach. So
No, the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is a Disney show. It's about twin brothers.
I know what it is. I have kids who watched it, but I heard Zach, and I thought
again
Zach,
showing your age, motherfucker.
it is what it is. Apparently everyone else knows my age, even though I've never said it publicly. But
Fucking AARP grandpa over here thinking Saved by the Bell is
Dude,
Sweet
every
Life
time
of
I
Zack
talk about
and
Saved by the
Cody.
fucking Bell, what the fuck?
I'm just fucking with you.
I know. I'm really upset because I get so upset when they all throw the age jokes at me too because I just laugh at it. So
All right, wrap it up.
that's
And if
it.
you want to wrap it up, go to bluetooth.com.
Actually, if you want to unwrap it, go to bluechew.com.
No, because you gotta wrap it before you tab it, because it's gonna burn when you pee. If you don't wrap it.
You sound like you're talking from experience.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not. Nope.
Nah, he have to fuck something to have that experience. Okay.
No, I got. Shout out to my 5-year-old uncle, by the way. But that's it.
Your 5-year-old
That's a
uncle.
crazy shout out after that statement. I'm sorry.
Yo, the re-listen to this show is gonna be fucking amazing. Like.
Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. I will be posting a link tree soon with all our socials. And if anyone wants to revisit this and they want to do it off of Twitter, the show will be on our YouTube channel by midnight tonight. But thanks for everyone who joined. DJ, until next Sunday.
See y'all then, mofos.
Yeet.